And full steam ahead to St Tyrone Park in Clones, now on BBC Two Northern Ireland. It's Donegal versus Tyrone in the Ulster Senior Championship final, introduced by Mark Sidebottom.
The narrow streets of this old County Monaghan market town are pulsing with what would appear to be all of human life. Red and white, green and gold, young and old, two tributaries in one great river, all merging and massing and coalescing here in Clones. Welcome to Clones, welcome to St Tyrone Park, and welcome to what is undeniably the biggest day in the Ulster GAA's calendar. Donegal in a sixth consecutive provincial decider. Tyrone, well, they've been marked absent, believe it or not, for all of 6 years. They are present today from Tyrconnell and Tyrone, present in their thousands. This is what they've come to see, just who will raise the Anglo-Celt aloft. Well, down through the years, many mighty, mighty men have got their hands in this. It means a lot. In fact, it means a whole lot.
It's probably the hardest championship to win. From the beginning of the year when you start training, like, everybody aspires to be in Clones and around the middle of July.
It's an honour to be captain of your county, first of all. To be captain of a county that's going to play in an Ulster final does put a bit of pressure on you.
When I captained Donegal in 1990, I'll always remember lifting the Anglo-Celt. Like, it was a very, very proud moment for me, that first one. It's an unbelievable few seconds, like people down in front of you, like a sea of green and gold. I'll never forget it, like, and it's something that I'll always take with me to the grave.
2003, as captain, we defeated Down after a replay. As captain, I had mixed emotions that day. The week before the final, I had buried my father, and so climbing the steps, that was very much in the forefront of my mind.
Tyrone, Ulster champions!
For that day, for that hour, for that minute, maybe you're the king of Ulster.
Donegal first to attack through their captain Anthony Malloy.
Probably which got us through in the Ulster final, I think, was the best probably half of football that we'd have played against Derry in the second half. We played a man down into a small breeze against a very, very, very good Derry side, and that was a great occasion as well, like accepting the Anglo-Celt for the second time.
That's something that every captain of every county in Ulster dreams of, and I was fortunate enough to be one of the men that got that privilege.
Them sort of moments, you know, I'll never ever do nothing better in my lifetime anyway. I know that for a fact.
Good afternoon. It is the kind of occasion that stirs the soul. Thank you to Peter Canavan and to Anthony Malloy for providing the context, providing the studio analysis. Three men who between them have no fewer than 21 Ulster final appearances. I think it's 6, 7 and 8 or something like that. Philip Jordan, Oisín McConville and Martin McHugh. Oisín, as the neutral today, I'll come to you first. The stage is set. Can and will they deliver?
I think they can only deliver today, Mark. This is a game that everybody in the country is looking forward to. You know, it was remarked that this is the game that could save football for this year in particular, but this is the only occasion in Gaelic football that rivals an All-Ireland final, and when you see 35,000 people packed into Clones today with expectation, we all expect, and I think these two teams can deliver.
Martin, for you, nervous?
Yeah, nervous, Mark. Understandable, you know. I'd always like to be out there playing. I think it's harder to sit in a studio or a match and watch them playing. One thing you hope they don't, nobody picks up a bad injury and nobody makes a bad mistake that costs the game. I think that's important. I think Ulster final day is special. It's really special. Walking up that hill in Clones, there's something real special about it. The other thing is you get the haircut for the Ulster final as a player. In my time, you polish the boots for Ulster. Probably in these boys' times, especially the lads now, they get new boots for every match, so they have new boots ready for Ulster final. That's what a big occasion is for players. And you know, Michael Higgarty summed it up on Thursday night at club training when he said to the lads at training, "It's special. It's a special occasion. Go and enjoy it."
If only I'd heard a cut, Philip. Philip, for you, it's been 6 years, as I mentioned at the top there, since you were last in an Ulster final. You played in that one 6 years ago. Since then, the changing of the guard.
Yeah, it seems a long time ago for Tyrone people. Probably at that time, we as players didn't celebrate it that much. We seemed as a round before an Ireland quarter final, and there's no doubt with the last 6 years, the mentality in Tyrone has changed a lot. This is a huge game for Tyrone and for Tyrone people. And look, Donegal have set the standard over the previous 6 years. 6 finals in a row is a remarkable achievement for any team, and they're the pedestal that Tyrone want to get to.
More shortly, lads. Over 30,000 north of that, shoehorned into Clonus this afternoon, and still they're coming in. Let's find out what the whispering is on pitch side. Good afternoon, Thomas Kane.
Good afternoon, Mark. It's hot, it's humid, and Clonus is a cauldron today. The spectators arrived here at the ground about 2 hours before the minor game, and they are absolutely buzzing, looking forward to what they feel could be a classic. Down here, though, in this area, it's all about cool heads, as two of the most tactically astute managers in Ireland go head-to-head. This is where Mickey Hart will sit, and interestingly, he doesn't change his starting 15 that was named earlier in the week. There have been speculation they might mix things up, but he's sticking with the same players that he named earlier in the week, although I would expect both Ronan McNabb and Peter Hart to swap. Over here, it'll be Rory Gallagher. One change for him. In comes Eamon McGee, and out goes Martin McElhenney as the Donegal team just make their way off the pitch. Interestingly, Sean Kavanagh is a key player for Tyrone in the past. Eamon McGee has man-marked him. That could be a tactic Donegal used today. One other thing of note down here in the sideline was the fact that Maxie Kern, the selector who's been making a few excursions onto the field throughout the Ulster Championship, spoke to both sets of referees, senior and minor, finding out exactly what he's allowed to do and what he's not allowed to do. Mark, I think this is going to be an absolute cracker.
We'll be back to you, Thomas, and if it's not, we're going to get you, but I think you might be right. Well, look, Martin, let's get a quick comment on that one change. No great surprise that Mr. McGee's in.
No, expect Neil McGee was always going to start, and you expect Eamon McGee to start. He will probably pick up Sean Kavanagh. Whether he roams out the field or not, I still think he will follow him out the field. And Martin McElhenney, unfortunate to be dropped, played really well in the first half the last day and was taken off and then taken back on again. But a big player to come in with good legs and can run at people in the game settle down. So I expect to see McElhenney still in the field early enough.
I was about to say I'll wager McElhenney will appear at some point. You two will appear very, very shortly. But in the meantime, for a more detailed look at how both teams will set up today and how one will invariably endeavour to stymie the other, let's hand you over to our commentary team. That's Martin Clark and Thomas Niblock. Thomas.
Yes, Mark, thank you very much indeed. You join us in the commentary area here in Clonus. Martin Clark, we're going to take a detailed look at the teams. Let's start off first of all with Donegal. We've mentioned that late change. McElhenney's out. Eamon McGee is in. He's not going to play centre half forward, is he?
No, he's not, Thomas. We're going to expect Eamon McGee to come back, take up his customary role there in the full back line. He's going to tighten things up. He'll also have help from Anthony Thompson. We know always comes back there, clogging up the space. Young Owen McHugh, great work rate. He'll be up and down that wing, but he will spend a lot of time down trying to make it hard for Tyrone of space. And look at that for a dangerous three up front. We'll probably see O'Reilly and Murphy come out a bit more, but Paddy McBurty on that left foot, still hard to believe he's only 22. He's had a lot of success. That's the area he wants around that day, and he's very, very dangerous in there. I expect him to have a big game.
So many quality players to pick from there, but you've identified Martin O'Reilly.
I have. He epitomises this Donegal team. He's hard working, he's disciplined, but he's a great footballer. He's what I would describe as having a very high football IQ. The timing of his runs, where he positions himself defensively, he's just a fantastic player. There's a lovely score. He's getting a lot of reward this year on the scoreboard. His teammates, he seems to inspire them also. He's highly respected within Donegal, and he's getting that respect outside of the county now. He's had a fantastic, just the angle of that run. He ships a big knock, and he's smart enough to get the ball on the boot, and that was a really important score at that time against Monaghan.
Yes, that was a super score from Martin O'Reilly. Let's go straight away now to Tyrone. What way do you envisage their setup?
I think it can be overlooked. The Tyrone full back line is an extremely tight unit. I played on Aidan McCrory in Tyrone's first game of the season down in Healy Park in the McKenna Cup for Queens. Didn't get an inch on him. So they're a fantastic line there. With Tiernan McCann, lovely smooth mover, up and down these flanks he'll be alongside Peter Hart, we all know. But those two guys are very honest as well. They'll get back and help out their defence. Colm Kavanagh, a crucial link, positions himself so smartly. Once Donegal have the ball down this side of the pitch, he'll be communicating with his fellow defenders opposite. Once they're coming down this side of the pitch, just position and get himself then bombing forward when Tyrone have it. They're a beautiful team to watch, and we know how much damage the forward line can do when they're given that space.
And the specific player that you've identified in terms of one to watch today is Tyrone's top scorer in the championship, and that's Peter Hart.
He is, yeah. Peter Hart's a phenomenal player. If I was managing against a Peter Hart team, I would have my best defender on him.
Even though he's a defender?
Sounds silly, even though he's a defender. That's how highly I regard him. He starts everything. He's the nucleus of everything. You see him give the ball, he gets it back. He started that run in his own half-back line. A fantastic finish as well, so silky, just catching the ball with one hand. Here we see him against Cavan. We have him highlighted. He just blows away the Cavan defenders. They're trying to go with him, but they can't. Now, the finish as well just shows you the whole Tyrone team of that athletic ability. But Peter Hart, no one laid a hand on him there. I would expect Donegal to have scrutinised clips like that. They'll be getting bodies in front of him, a tug of the jersey here, potentially, nothing too cynical, but just don't let them. That was like a training run. Cavan just let Tyrone go through them. If that happens today, which I don't think it will, Tyrone will go high scoring again.
I think it's safe to say he won't be given that space today. Mark, it's back to you.
Thank you very much, guys. Most insightful. Philip Jordan, let's extend the analysis. Who do you expect from Donegal to pick up Peter Hart today?
I think that's one of the tough ones. We're just talking here, trying to get some of the matchups right, and as Oisín says, it's probably not as important as it was maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago. So possibly Paddy McGrath or Neil McGee maybe could pick him up. I think Peter's strength really is coming onto the ball at pace, but the question is, can Donegal stop him basically getting hands on the ball? Once he gets hands on the ball, he's a very dangerous player and tough to stop. So I think the key to stopping Peter is to get pressure on him early and don't let him get the head of steam up.
Oisín, as a neutral, call it for us.
One of my criticisms of Donegal early in the season was their energy levels and whether they could get up to the energy levels of previous years. If they had that pace in their team, they proved the last day that there's still something in this Donegal team. But for me, Tyrone have a huge amount of pace, and I want to pick out one player today. That's Conor McCalskey. I think he can have a huge impact on this game today.
Here's the cue for you. I know where your allegiances lie, Philip, and I know where yours lie, Martin. Thank you, Oisín. Right, the 2016 Ulster Senior Football Final, Tyrone versus Tyrconnell, is upon us. Your match commentary team, Martin Clark and Thomas Niblock.
Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. The beautiful day that is the Ulster Final. It's the third Sunday in July, and that Tyrone team and those Donegal players, perhaps, should I say, will have their eyes on the third Sunday in September, but so much has yet to be played between now and then. It's a wonderful occasion, such as Gaelic football, such as the Ulster Final, and there's so much that's going to develop here on BBC television in front of us right now, where we're going to pause momentarily for a moment's silence, and that's because sadly the broadcaster for RTE Radio in the Gaeltacht, that Seamus McGeady, sadly passed away less than a fortnight ago. A familiar face throughout all broadcasters up and down the country as we go towards all the Ulster Championship games. And now we pause for a moment's silence. Players will pause for the minute silence while the band continues, but it's a brief chance to bring in our co-commentator this afternoon, Martin Clark. Martin, just a fascinating battle to look forward to.
Absolutely is. Two teams in tremendous form so far this season, and just looking out onto the pitch here, Thomas, it's just magnificent sunshine. The surface looks perfect, and the two sets of team. This is a place now where you need to get your arm around your teammate beside you to settle the nerves, to put faith in that hard work you've put on since Christmas time, and really enjoy the occasion.
These are the two best teams in the province.
I agree. I think that they certainly are, and it's just going to be such an intense, fascinating battle, and I just can't wait to get it started.
And we do pause now for that moment's silence. There is the splendid sunshine, the wonderful crowd, a selling capacity here at Clonus in County Monaghan for this wonderful Gaelic football game that awaits us. We do pause now for that moment's silence
of course, James McGeady, who sadly passed away less than a fortnight ago, a broadcaster and commentator for RT Radio in the Gaeltachta, who will be sadly missed throughout all the games we've been up and down the country commentating throughout the years, and of course, most importantly, his family. So we pause now for that momentary silence.
Jack Newman and Joe McDonald, who went to their deaths in a fortnight of each other. Jack is there representing Joe with his presidential pin. We ask you to rise and observe a silence in all their memories.
A round of applause from supporters both young and old as we get ready to pause for the anthem. And the anthem will be sung by Catherine Mullen. And Catherine Mullen is from the Slotneil Club in South Derry. Of course, last year reached an All-Ireland Club final. She is a student at Queen's University Belfast studying maths. And we pause now for Around the Vein. Well, the scene is set, the players are ready, the huddle between the Donegal players and the jumping up and down of the Tyrone ones. What a setting for championship football. The provincial final in July, it's live on BBC television, and what a game we have to look forward to.
Yeah, just watching the players doing their final little bit just to get the energy pumping through their legs. All the preparation's been done throughout this. You know, this week they've been in so many meetings. They've looked over the opposition. They know exactly what's going to be on them. But now it's just a matter of getting started, getting that first ball into your hands. And you couldn't ask for a better day. Both these teams love playing in a dry sod because of so many quality players, and it's going to help the game.
The match referee today, David Coldrick from Meath. He's refereed 3 All-Ireland finals, refereed last year's Ulster final, and he will have to have eyes on the back of his head today. Such will be the matchups. Handshakes all round, but in around 20 seconds time the players go to war. Michael Murphy straight away in the middle of the field for the throw up. We're getting ready for battle. The scene is set, the ball has been thrown in, and the 2016 Ulster Championship final is underway, and straight away it's Tyrone who've won it in the middle of the field, fouled on the 65-metre line. There's going to be a free in for Tyrone, taken quickly, and now in the hands of number 12 Ronan McNabb, who pops it back. And Donegal, 14 players inside their own half straight away once they lose possession. We're less than a minute into the game and it's already poised like a game of chess. Here's Tiernan McCann, has had such influence throughout the championship in 2016, leaves it in long in towards Conor McCalskey. McCalskey out in front of his man, just about manages to keep that in play and pops a superb pass out that right hand side to McNabb, who gives it back out again. Justin McMahon. Now, is he going to be the man to pick up Michael Murphy today? Should he move into a forward position? So a measured build-up in the early stages of this championship final. McNabb, that's his third touch of the ball. The game is less than a minute old. He's trying to move in towards goal, looking for help. Hits the ball high, it's dropping in and around the square. The goalkeeper comes, punches it away, soccer style. But the break on ball is won by Tyrone. Just outside the 21-metre line. The referee says no foul. And the danger has been cleared, and eventually the referee blows the whistle. And it's going to be a free out for Donegal.
Excellent start there from both sides. Tyrone were very patient trying to pick a hole. They almost got the shot away. Good keeping as well from Mark Anthony McGinley. Got the ball cleared right out of the area, but Donegal will be happy with the way they set up, and they forced that shot under severe pressure. So now it's Donegal's first attack.
Owen McHugh down this right-hand side. Effortlessly just hand-toes the ball, takes a bounce and pops it back. Owen McNeilish. Lovely, lazy style. Wonderful footballer. He'll be difficult to miss today in those flamboyant football boots. And speaking of flamboyant football boots, here's Ryan McHugh. Frank McGlynn. Nothing's on ahead of him, so pops it back. And here comes the runner. It's Anthony Thompson. Crosses the 45-metre line and spots a man outside him. It's Rory Kavanagh. First opportunity for a score. Kavanagh with a shot. And goes wide.
Yeah, just tailed off at the end. The Tyrone defender did just enough. He didn't have enough room to really swing that right foot at it. He had to keep his leg close to his body, so that's why it tailed off close to the end.
And straight away now Morgan hit that kick straight to Cal McShane, and the quick distribution of a goal kick straight into a Tyrone set of hands, and really that is the platform for building such an emphatic attack, and it's resulted in a foul, and it's going to be a free in for Tyrone. And Niall Morgan, having started off that move, is going to come up and take the free. Tiernan McCann, the man that was fouled.
He was. Niall Morgan, as soon as that ball was wide, he had it out in a flash. You cannot afford to switch off at all for 1 second at this level. And we spoke about Tiernan McCann. He's such a smooth mover, that long stride, and he bought that free really well. And this is a big kick for Morgan. I think Tyrone are a better team with him in the side for this reason, and also for the one he demonstrated, getting that ball out so quickly and so accurately after that wide from Donegal.
Well, he just sets the ball down just inside the 45-metre line and takes his few strides back, and then again over to the left-hand side. All free takers now had a little bit of a routine. Niall Morgan leisurely just almost walks up to the ball, strikes it with absolute perfection, and with 4 minutes gone, Tyrone are up and running.
Absolutely, the surface down there is absolutely perfect for that kick off the ground. As soon as that left his boot, he was charging back to goal. He knew right away it was just a glorious kick, and the Tyrone fans loved it.
2 kickouts, 2 short kickouts, and Donegal are in possession. Here's Martin O'Reilly playing very deep. Moves in field, and he finds Ryan McHugh looking for help and support. He's found it. Michael Murphy with the late surge. 4 Tyrone players surrounding him, still manages to get rid of the ball successfully to a Donegal teammate. Here's Frank McGlynn. Thought about going left, instead goes backwards and goes right. Martin O'Reilly down this right-hand side. He might go for a shot. He does. He probably wish he didn't. Skied off the outside of the boot, and that goes to the right and wide. Donegal's second wide.
Yeah, that was on Martin O'Reilly. He rushed that a bit from a very difficult position, but as we speak, Niall Morgan has the ball, and Tyrone are already in their own attacking half.
A third short kick out. Donegal in possession. Tyrone on the attack, I should say. Aidan McCrory pops it back to Justin McMahon. Here's the late runner, Cathal McShane. There's a high tackle. The referee says play on. And he was taken out of it off the ball, but the shot comes in from distance. It goes to the left and goes wide. And David Coldrick may well have spotted that third man challenge. And looks like he's going to chat to one of the Donegal players. A sea of green and gold. Referee has not allowed Mark Anthony McGinley to take that short kick out. He's gone to consult with one of his umpires. Happy enough, he's gone back into the middle of the field, and that gives the opportunity for the game to be restarted. Quite a cagey, quiet start.
Yeah, it has been in a few shots. Obviously, there's going to be that the scoring zone's going to be protected so heavily by the two teams' defences that there's going to be a lot of long shots going on, so we might have to expect a few wides, a few drop shots, but every point's just going to count for so much today.
Laura McNeely's just inside the 45-metre line, kicks it in, and it goes wide. A third wide for Donegal.
Yeah, that's disappointing again. That was probably the easiest of those attempts, although again it was a diving block from a Tyrone defender right on his boot at the end. Just did enough to put him off, but McNeilish's a classy player. He'll bounce back and have an impact, but he would have preferred to, you know, have started with that score, even though it wasn't the easiest effort.
Tyrone on the attack. McNabb seen an awful lot of the ball in the opening 7 minutes. Studden, that's his first touch. Leaves it in long. The goalkeeper comes out, gets his body behind it and secures possession. Donegal now turn defence into attack. Here's Frank McGlynn. All of a sudden you hear the crowd getting behind the Donegal team. He needs support and he's found it. Here's Martin O'Reilly down this right hand side. Puts the head down and toe taps and away he goes. Tyrone surging back. Poor touch from Kavanagh, but he did get away from it. The referee says no free. And Tyrone snuff it out. Here's Matty Donnelly, so strong in attack. This went through Patrick McBrearty as if he wasn't there. Donnelly pops the pass to Tiernan McCann. McCalliskey has found Sean Kavanagh. Took the bounce, thought momentarily about the shot. Probably knew he was going to be blocked down. Here's Peter Hart. Passes it to Cal McShane, just over the top, but there's a man covering. Once again, the man covering is Matty Donnelly. Now here comes Studden, trying to go by Carl Lacey. Does so with ease. The shot comes in from Studden. The umpires look at each other. And eventually the signal comes that the ball went wide.
Yeah, surprised he missed that one. He did get round Carl Lacey very, very easily. Just tailed away at the end, but it was a lovely switch of play from Tyrone. Donegal blocked every passage down the left-hand side of the attack. Peter Hart switched the ball into the middle and they were able to isolate Lacey one-on-one, but the wides now are becoming a bit of an issue for both sides.
And there's the first mistake from a kick-out. It'll be a Tyrone sideline ball, taken by Sean Kavanagh, who pops it inside. Kavanagh looks for the return pass. Will he get it? He doesn't, because the shot comes in. Left-footed. The umpires again look at each other, and the ball goes wide. 3 wides apiece.
3 apiece, and we've only played 8 minutes, so there's plenty of efforts on goal, but again, it wasn't a clear-cut chance. Yes, you would expect him to score, but there was just enough pressure on. It was interesting when Sean Kavanagh took the sideline ball. Ronan O'Neill just pushed off Eamon McGee, just a slight thing, just to buy himself a second of space, and he worked it onto his left foot.
Mickey Hart is 253rd game in charge of Tyrone today. Staggering. Martin O'Reilly wins the breaking ball and finds Thompson, who gives it to Patrick McBrearty. He's out in front of his man. McBrearty goes by 1, 2. Knew he wasn't going to go by a third. Pops it to Michael Murphy. Gets plenty of height, but lacks that little bit of direction. And again, another wide, which has really been the story in the opening 10 minutes. The players seem a little nervous.
They do seem nervous, but I think both sets of managers have said, have a go, don't be afraid to have a shot, and that's why they're taking on lower percentage efforts and than they normally would. That ball was around the 45-metre line. Of course, Michael Murphy's capable of putting that over, but on another day he may have worked a shorter ball and tried to get an easier scoring shot.
Studden. This wonderful play from the Dromore clubman. Finds Hart, gives it to McShane. Thought about the shot, takes a toe tap. The second time, well, if you give him 2 opportunities, he's definitely going to go for it. Is the accuracy 100%? Yes.
Fantastic. That's how it's done. He just steadied himself. He was able to steady himself with that toe to hand. It really just settled him down. A lot of the shots are being rushed, but he was able just to get that little toe tap in, get his eye over the ball, and a fantastic finish high over the post.
Another kick out, and another kick out goes short. Mark Anthony McGinley with these is able to pick up his man, who's Paddy McGrath. Transfers it to Frank McGlynn. With a leisurely build-up, just advances towards enemy territory. Pops it to Ryan McHugh. And straight away, you can see when McHugh crosses the 45, he's immediately pushed up against by the Tyrone players, but he's done enough to win himself a free. Was that a free?
I think maybe the initial one could have been there, which it wasn't given a free for, but there may have been a hand over there, which is a bit overzealous, but it's very, very hard. Maybe that final right hand in from Tiernan McCann, but David Coldrick's letting the game go, which will, it'll make for a better spectacle. He's not blowing soft free kicks. Ryan McHugh, one of the best carriers of the ball in the game, so he'll take boys on all day. And Paddy McBrearty on this left foot, he will be very, very eager to have a nice start to this game. He missed one from almost this position last year when Monaghan were up by a point in the last minute, as we remembered, so he'll be hoping to get this one over and get him on the board.
It's not an easy free for his first of the day, a championship final. Paddy McBrearty, 22 years of age, he's 23 next month. This is his 6th Ulster final. Incredible. And he's a pretty decent free taker also.
He certainly is, and that's the difference. Once you're able to put your best player, your best finisher on the ball in a free kick situation, he very rarely misses, and he just started that in the left-hand post and curled it in.
So with 12 minutes gone, there's been 3 scores. Tyrone's total score in the Ulster Championship this year has been 8 goals and 48 points. Something tells me it's not going to be high scoring today. Ronan O'Neill goes for that ambitious effort way out on that right-hand side. It's comfortably gathered by the Donegal goalkeeper, and another defence to attack. Momentum begins with the ball in the hands of Martin O'Reilly. Has seen plenty of ball. You can hear the supporters shouting, switch it. Here's Carl Lacey. Pops it to Ryan McHugh. Nothing on in front. Gives it back. Oran McNeilish almost dropped it, but found the runner and found it with ease. In comes the shot. Partially blocked down. It's going to be a 45. Very quiet start.
Has been.
Or should we be surprised at that?
Well, I think it's just both teams are going about it. You know, they're getting lots of numbers back when the opposition have a kick out, and you know, it's just players are biding their time, looking for that exact pass. They know how long, you know, the games are. They know that games are not won the first 10 minutes at all. It's, you know, right to the 74th minute. So they're probably sussing each other out a bit, and it's a very hot day, so they may need to conserve a bit of energy. But if Donegal probably, you know, haven't been as fluent as Tyrone going forward, but you'd expect Murphy to draw them level here.
So it's going to be a 45 for Donegal. Just a single score between the sides. 14 minutes gone. The chance for Donegal to draw level. Michael Murphy on the 45. Kicks it, wallops it straight over the black spot. Well, his free-taking capabilities were questioned against Monaghan, but he's off and running today.
Yeah, and he's just taken a big blow on the way out. He's just got hit there, but fantastic free. You know, he's a great leader, and Donegal know that they can't afford to miss those types of frees, and I don't think anyone should be questioning his free-taking abilities. He's one of the best going around, and that's a fantastic start today.
Tyrone have possession, and it's now Cathal McCarran from the Dromore club in County Tyrone. Matty Donnelly takes the pass, thought about going past his man and pops it back. Mikalski gives it. It's the shot, and it goes wide. Let's go to Thomas Keane on pitch side.
Well, interestingly, Martin Clark spoke before the programme about the possibility of man marking Peter Hart, and certainly when Tyrone are in possession, Ryan McHugh is taking up that job on the reverse side. Hart isn't picking up McHugh on the other side. Donegal, a lot of shadow boxing going on, but Donegal seem very comfortable with sacrificing possession to the likes of Ronan McNabb and Aidan McCrory at times.
Thomas, thank you. 2 points apiece. With the quarter of an hour gone, Donegal on the attack. It's a lovely pass inside to Ryan McHugh. McHugh with a shot, goes with the right boot. That's absolutely sensational. He showed the dummy with his left shoulder, feinted as if he was going to go one way, turned to his right and popped it over the bar. It's a splendid point.
Fantastic score by Ryan McHugh. Just cut back there, he's so nimble, and that finish was extremely difficult to generate the power on the back foot, and a fantastic score.
And the confusion between Niall Morgan and Colm Kavanagh results in the ball going over the sideline. So both goalkeepers guilty of hitting the ball over the sideline. It'll be a Donegal ball, and it's going to be taken by Patrick McBrearty. So the linesman is not allowing him to take this sideline ball for whatever reason. He's just telling Ronan McNamee to move away from the kicker, and Paddy McBrearty is shaping up as if he fancies this. So we watched Tomas Corrigan do this in earlier rounds of the Ulster Championship for Fermanagh. He's going to go for it. Patrick McBrearty hits the shot. He's not going to curl it enough, and it goes wide. Well, what that does illustrate is that he's feeling the confidence.
He is. There was a slight breeze in his face too, and you know, Clonus is... Oh yeah, that's the kick out from... It was just a mistake from big Colin Kavanagh. You know, sometimes the hands just weren't ready there, but they'll bounce back from that, very mentally strong. But McBurty, on a wide pitch against Clonus, to score a sideline free is going to be very, very difficult.
Long ball into the full forward line. Ronan O'Neill almost evaded the shackles of Neil McGee, but McGee used his strength perfectly well and was able to shepherd O'Neill away from it. But it's going to be a 45 nonetheless. 17 minutes gone. Donegal 3 points, Tyrone 2 points. And Niall Morgan once again is coming up the field. And one or two Donegal players whispering a few bits and pieces in his ear as he was doing so. So Niall Morgan will take this 45. The crowd strangely quiet. Something tells me the final 17 minutes of this Ulster Championship final will be a little bit noisier than the first 17. So Niall Morgan, the opportunity for a second point today. The crowd booing Niall Morgan as he hits that. And it had the required effect.
Yeah, it did. He wasn't happy with that strike at all. He started it out on the right-hand side and it just stayed there. But, you know, it's a 45. Probably should be kicking them, but it's not an easy opportunity at all for Morgan.
Carl Lacey. Possession yet again for Donegal. Here comes Owen McHugh, who's had a brilliant championship so far in 2016. Frank McGlynn. I thought about passing it backwards and eventually does so. The ball now in the hands of Rory Kavanagh, the teacher from Letterkenny. Carl Lacey. And Tyrone are certainly making it difficult for Donegal. And once they cross the 45, now you're going to see them just move up against them. Ryan McHugh spotted that and goes backwards yet again. Oren McNeilish finds Rory Kavanagh. Straight away, Callum McShane in, spots it and tries to dispossess. Well, the referee judged that as a foul. Rory Kavanagh will probably be happy that it was given.
Yeah, that's a couple of times now that Cathal McShane has been strong in the tackle and dispossessed. They've been a bit unlucky. They've given away free kicks too, but Tyrone are tackling really well. They're being disciplined. They're coming out and meeting Donegal, and they're hitting them hard.
Ryan McHugh, he's already scored one brilliant point today. Make it two. Well, that's sensational. Well, Brian McGuigan, the former Tyrone centre-half forward, was saying if there's one player that you have to watch from a Donegal perspective, it's Ryan McHugh. And the early evidence provided here at Clonus, he's spot on.
He has. That was a fantastic. That was straight out of the sweet spot of the right foot. That would have felt beautiful leaving his foot. And as he watched it sailed over, it was interesting. Once he did his little celebration, he was straight on to Peter Hart. We heard Thomas Kane pitch side say he's picking him up. Sometimes that can give a player a real focus. He goes to Peter Hart. He knows he's nullifying him thus far, and then he's going to win his own ball. And Peter Hart maybe needs to give McHugh a bit more respect and pick him up, because that's two sensational points he's got from play.
4 in a row for Donegal. They lead by 2 points. And when you chatted to every expert in Gaelic football, everyone, pretty much everyone, was going for Tyrone ahead of this game. They're trailing with 20 minutes gone by 2 points. In comes the kick. It's high. Brilliantly won. Sludden, chance of a score. This one is hit much better than his last shot. Pops it over the bar, the minimum between the sides.
Yeah, it was Aidan McCoy who was up there in the attack. Really read the flight of the ball very early, won the ball and gave it to the shooter, and it was a lovely controlled finish over the bar, and that'll really settle Tyrone. It's been a while since they'd put one over the bar.
Donegal on the attack. They have possession once again, courtesy of a short kick out coming from Mark Anthony McGinley. Frank McGlynn thought about giving it, instead maintains possession. Ryan McHugh, who's already scored 2 from pretty much identical position which he hit that from. It's a hat-trick of scores in 20 minutes from the wing half-back.
Wow, that is phenomenal play. 3 carbon copies. He's cutting in, he's finding space. He's such a talented ball carrier, and no one's closing him down. And those 3 points have been outstanding from distance, from angles, but they haven't looked like missing. As soon as he's hit it, the umpires have been reaching for the flags, and he is the difference.
Well, I could see Gavin Devlin straight away racing over one of the Tyrone selectors to give instructions to one of his players. I imagine it was trying to pick up Ryan McHugh, but in the meantime, Tyrone have responded in the fashion of which they've become accustomed to. They knocked the ball over the bar, and yet again there's just a minimum between the sides. Cathal McCarran, the corner back.
Yeah, it's a lovely finish by McCarran. He was under pressure, he had to kick it over hands, but it was Peter Hart's first surge and run. He flicked the ball to McCarran, and that was Aidan McCrory, number 2, the cornerback, set up the first. The third point from Tyrone, and there's Cathal McCarran, the other cornerback, scoring their 4th. So, you know, that they're really dragging them up at the minute, and it just shows you the leadership in those boys. Once they're down in attack, they're helping out and getting the scores on the board.
Neil McGee's bottled up. He's found Orr McNeely, who shoots from a long way out, way behind the 45-metre line. Does it curl in? It does. Well, a fantastic range of long-range shooting from Donegal. That was absolutely a brilliant point. Under pressure, he had to get height on the ball because he knew he potentially could be blocked down. That's a superb score.
Yeah, and he didn't snatch at it. It was a lovely slow leg swing, and it cleared the crossbar by 20 metres. That was a phenomenal score by McNeilish, and we've really been treated to some nice scores in this first half. I think there is a wind favouring Donegal. That was kicked from 50 metres and it carried comfortably, so I do think Donegal, it might not look like much, but they're playing with slight breeze.
The game beginning to warm up. Niall Morgan with the goal kick. This one is up high. Well, won by Tiernan McCann. Took a knock as he collected that ball. And Neil McGee just throws Colin Cavan out of his way. Tyrone unperturbed, continue their attack. Ronan O'Neill does well out in front of his man. Here's Matty Donnelly. Pushes it back. He's on the 13-metre line. Snatches at it. It's wide. Well, Donegal did just about enough to come back and put that little bit of pressure on. And the ball goes wide. Let's go pitch side to Thomas Keane.
Ryan McHugh showing fantastic footballing intelligence. You can really notice it here from a pitch side perspective, because he isn't being picked up until he really makes his way inside the Tyrone 45-yard line. He's attacking at pace, he's seeing the space, and by the time the Tyrone react, it's too late, as you've seen with 3 fantastic scores.
Well, Gavin Devlin, we can see now, is making his way off the field of play, and he's given instructions to someone. They're going to have to mark up Ryan McHugh before he crosses that 45-metre line. He's scored 3 brilliant points. 50% of Donegal's scores in the opening 24 minutes. Donegal once again in possession of the ball, not for the first time. It's Frank McGlynn who knocks it in. Morgan comes for it and punches it clear. That's good goalkeeping. He was under pressure at the expense of a sideline ball. That was dangerous.
Yeah, it was an interesting piece of play. That they had just been carrying it up to the 45 and hand passing it round. Keep Donegal. They keep mixing it up, you know. The McBurty and Murphy in there, that was identified, and the long ball was in, and it was well dealt with by Morgan, and it had to be.
Well, Orr McNeely looks as if he's going to try this. He's shaping up that way. So Paddy McBurty hit the previous one from the sideline ball. This angle is more acute.
It is, and it's such a wide ground, Clonus. It's such a difficult kick.
Orr McNeely goes for it, perhaps boosted by that point he scored just a few moments ago, but it isn't enough. And it goes wide. Another wide for Donegal. They're 6th in total in comparison to 6 for Tyrone.
I think that's a waste, 2 wasted possessions from such an attacking, you know, area of the field. I think they could have been looking for a short one there. I know the players were confident to back themselves in, but Clonus being the wide ground, and they're very difficult shots, and they're 2 wides when they could have potentially have worked 2 scoring opportunities that were easier.
Tyrone on the attack. Ronan McNamee moving forward at will. Pops it off and finds Conor Michalski, who shoots from distance, bounces, and it goes wide. 7th wide for Tyrone.
Again, very difficult shot, and that's why the wide count's so high. You know, players are shooting on sight, and they're under pressure while they're doing it, so that's going to drive that wide count up, and only Ryan McHugh and Orr McNeilish have really found their radar.
Martin O'Reilly moving forward in the 2015 championship. He played 2015 season, should I say. He played more minutes in the Donegal shirt than any other Donegal player, but really coming to the fore of this Donegal side in 2016. Rory Kavanagh pops it inside to Michael Murphy, who pops it straight back. McHugh finds Gillespie. Carl Lacey jinks and turns, pretends to go one way, goes another, but loses out. Tyrone had 5 players surrounding him at that moment, and he loses possession. And this is where Tyrone are so dangerous. The quick counter-attack. Matty Donnelly brings it out wide, trying to bring some of those Donegal defenders out from the middle. Tiernan McCann gives it, looks for their turn pass. Peter Hart shoots on the turn, and it's gone wide. 6 points to 4, 2 points between the sides, 27 minutes gone. Another short kick out, Donegal have it. And the size 5 rests comfortably in the hands of Neil McGee. Thought his championship was over because of a 2-game suspension, but because the semi-final went to a replay, he's able to play in the final today. Or McNeilish pops it out that left-hand side to Owen McHugh. Head down and straight away takes it to Tyrone. Anthony Thompson thought about the pass, knew he was going to be dispossessed. McNeilish with the shot, it's a poor one. And it's gathered by Niall Morgan, who was quickly off his line. Justin McMahon finds Sean Kavanagh. Hasn't seen too much ball and plays a little deeper. Here's Ronan O'Neill. The first opportunity he's really had. Dispossessed, but picks up the pieces very quickly. Sludden gives it back to O'Neill again. Peter Hart gives it to the running man. The running man is Tiernan McCann from Killyclogher. Here's Cathal McShane. McShane goes for the shot. Just rockets off the outside of the boot. And Donegal can attack at pace. Here's Anthony Thompson. Sean Kavanagh tries to get the tackle on. It's late, but at that stage he's passed the ball to Paddy McBurty. Here's Michael Murphy. Frank McGlynn. Donegal on the attack. And with the microphones so close to the supporters, you can pick up all sorts of language. We apologise for any offence caused. Well, this man is offending the Tyrone defence. That's Ryan McHugh. That's a lovely turn of pace. Finds his man with ease and is fouled, and it's going to be a free-in on the 21-metre line. And I have to say, Mickey Hart and his side have to get to grips with Ryan McHugh, because no matter what flank he goes down, he's causing them all sorts of problem. Whether it's shooting, whether it's driving straight at them, Donegal, basically, he's the go-to man at the moment.
Yeah, it's an influential performance I've watched in a number of years, especially in such a big game like an Ulster final. He's just causing all sorts of havoc with that speed, with his silky control. He keeps the ball so close to his body, and you know, if McBurty points this, which we expect him to do, that's, you know, another vital role McHugh played in it. And you know, I would say at half-time there'll be a lot of talk in the Tyrone dressing room about, you know, trying to quell the influence of McHugh, because he's really doing as he pleases.
Paddy McBurty hits the free. Paddy McBurty knocks it over the bar. There's 3 points between the sides. And Tyrone, despite the amount of ball they've had in their hands, they seem to be struggling.
They do, and their shot selection, they've been forced to shoot from way out the field. As we expected, Donegal are clogging up that area where, you know, Tyrone have scored 8 goals in the Ulster Championship, but you know, I'm sure Donegal have looked at it in depth about clogging that up, about stopping them at source, not allowing Tyrone to get the run on. And you know, that Donegal and Rory Gallagher will be delighted with how this game has panned out thus far.
Oran McNeilish has the ball in hand. He's looking for support and he's found it. Rory Kavanagh down that left-hand side. Comes back. Frank McGlynn finds Carl Lacey, the former player of the year. Nothing in front of him. And Donegal, this is where their expertise comes in. If there is nothing on, they will not be pressurised into making any kind of mistake.
Absolutely not. And why would they be? You know, they're so good at controlling the pace of the game here. Almost every player is walking, and then someone's going to maybe inject that bit of pace, like we've seen Ryan McHugh do it, and break the line and get a free or get a score.
Frank McGlynn pops it to McHugh. Here's Owen McHugh. He goes by one man. This is when it opens up. He's a man inside him. He's given away to Gillespie, the corner back. Chance of a score for Donegal as he fouled. He says no, the referee. The shot comes in from Carl Lacey. Not enough juice on it. And the referee has stopped play. There's been a collision between two players on the 45-metre line, and both team doctors are straight away onto the field of play. And it's Matty Donnelly down. I'm not quite sure who the Donegal player is down at the moment. And then we can see just that little bit of gentle pushing and shoving and players chatting to one another.
And this is a perfect opportunity if Mickey Hart or Rory Gallagher want to change something, if they want to.
There's the collision. Well, here's Owen McHugh. Pops the ball. Matty Donnelly's coming into frame just about now. He tries to pull out of it, but runs into him. It looked accidental.
It did look accidental, but those two athletes going at that speed, it can be very, 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 a painful one. They're going to need to get their breath back. And it's a great rule the GAA have introduced to stop that play and get attention, medical attention for the guys immediately, because in years gone past they would have been on the ground and you would have played over the top of them. But that's stupidity really, and hopefully the two fellas are going to be okay to continue.
Well, Owen McHugh looks very shaky indeed, and the doctor has taken him straight off the field of play. He looked very shaky. And Thomas Keane, let's go pitch side.
Well, it's going to be a blood slub. Owen McHugh has been taken straight into the dressing room. He has blood around his mouth area, so Martin McElhenney is going to come in as a blood sub, as temporary. It looks like Owen's going to need stitches. He was brought straight into the dressing room immediately by the team doctor. In terms of Matty Donnelly, he is undergoing the protocols now in terms of concussion. There doesn't appear to be any blood around his face, and he's been tended to by the Tyrone physio team.
And that physio you can maybe see. Well, it was on your screen just moments ago. The blood sod has been made. Owen McHugh is off. Martin McElhenney is on.
Temporary substitution on the Donegal team. Number 11 for number 12.
And we'll see what happens from David Coldrick. There could be a yellow card.
For Owen McHugh.
And it's a black card. Well, there's a massive talking point for the boys in studio at half-time. He did stop him. Was it intentional? And that is a massive blow for Tyrone. Matty Donnelly will play no further part in this game. A substitution will be hastily arranged, but that is a hammer blow for Tyrone. He's been one of their outstanding performers in 2016, and he's gone.
It is that is a massive blow, and I feel for him a bit. I don't believe it was a malicious challenge. That McHugh had already released the ball. Yes, it was dangerous and he caused blood, but a yellow would have been sufficient in my opinion. I'm not a fan of the black card, and I don't think he deserved to go there.
That looked incredibly harsh. His momentum took him into him, and Matty Donnelly casts a distraught figure on the sideline. Well, a picture paints 1,000 words. His afternoon is over. Donegal have possession. Well, it'll be interesting to get the thoughts of Martin Oshin and Philip Jordan in studio on that one at half-time. That's a big blow. And with a 3-point advantage, the tail of the half seems to be a green and gold one. Frank McGlynn thought about moving forwards and pops it out this right-hand side. Carl Lacey. And again, this patient build-up from Donegal. Here comes the Tyrone substitution. And looks as if it's going to be Rory Brennan. One Trillick man replacing another one. Frank McGlynn gives it to Rory Kavanagh. Oren McNeilish in the middle of the field. The 1-2, Martin O'Reilly flicks it back. McNeilish again under pressure, and they're almost inviting Tyrone to come out of that 45-metre line. And when Tyrone do that and lose that little bit of discipline, that's when the gaps begin to appear. 4 minutes of additional time. Additional time will be played at the end of this first half.
And the key is, Thomas, Tyrone are waiting on a turnover. They're waiting on Donegal to lose the ball so they can come forward, but Donegal haven't lost the ball. They've kept it. They've either put the ball dead for a goal kick or they've kept the ball, although they've just lost it here, so Tyrone will be on the surge.
Sean Kavanagh back defending. Tyrone need to get something, and we'll want to finish this half strongly. Lovely play from McCarron. That was a lovely dummy into the path of Callum McShane, who's bearing down in goal, but he's much to do even to secure possession. He's crowded out of it. 4 green and gold jerseys. Peter Hart pulls on it. By that time, the free had already been given. And the referee blows his whistle. He's not allowing the quick free to be taken. Rory Brennan comes on, and straight away David Coldrick is over to speak to his match umpire. A time to reflect.
Yeah, I just think on that point where Donegal are holding possession and Tyrone are back in defence, Tyrone are relying on a turnover. That's how they play. They get in, they tackle. We've seen them do it against Derry, against Cavan, and then they surge in numbers. But Donegal have been very intelligent. They've kept the ball away from the tackle. They've moved it fast. And sometimes they've just, drew Tyrone out and then had an attempt and goal. We saw some nice scores come off it as well. But the key is Donegal are not running into the tackle and allowing Tyrone to build from the back.
So Owen McHugh is back on the field of play, and the match referee has brandished the card, and it's black, and it's Cathal McShane. This is turning into a disaster for Tyrone. Let's have a look at it again. Here's Cathal McCarran moving forward, tries to play it into the path of Cathal McShane, who's there, tries to pick it up, and there it is, a deliberate trip. Again, a talking point at half-time. Wasn't intentional. Let's have a look at it. Loses possession, rolls over the ball, and now you can see him, and McGee's about to come away with it. Now, does he trip him?
Again, Thomas, I don't think a lad should be sent from the field in an Ulster final for that. It's 115 metres from Donegal's goal. They weren't surging out. It wasn't overly malicious. He was potentially going to get trod on accidentally.
Well, two big calls, because the two of the best players for Tyrone against Cavan in both of those games were Cathal McShane and Matty Donnelly. Both of them have picked up black cards. It's going to be some half-time team talk. The Tyrone supporters are incensed with that decision coming off the back of two black cards. And this is playing into Donegal's hands beautifully.
It is. I said that earlier, the Donegal management team, the players, they're in control of this game. It's on their terms. And it's up to Tyrone to try and do something different to get back control.
Rory Kavanagh picks up a yellow card, and the boos tell the story of the frustration of the supporters here in the red and white. A yellow card to Rory Kavanagh. We've almost played the 4 minutes of additional time at the end of this first half. A cagey first half. But the man in the middle has had two big calls to make. Plenty of food for thought for analysis at half-time. 3 points between the sides. Tyrone trying to get one back before David Coldrick blows that half-time whistle. Brennan gets it back to Justin McMahon, who switches the play to Colm Kavanagh. This is his first burst up the field in 39 minutes of football. Gives it inside, in comes the kick. Is it on target? It's wide. It's a ninth wide for Tyrone. And they can only blame themselves, because in terms of their shooting, they've been very much off target today.
They have. That was a difficult chance again. He bought a lovely bit of space by turning his man off the ball, Mark Bradley, who's a fantastic player to bring in, but he just was too hard an angle.
So the referee is blowing his whistle, and there is Matty Donnelly, and you have to feel for him. It looked completely accidental. Two quality footballers not available to Mickey Hart in the second half. They haven't been sent off. They've been black carded, so substitutions have come on, but it's a big blow for Tyrone.
It is a big blow, but I hope the two boys can look beyond their own personal disappointment, get into that changing room alongside their teammates and keep them encouraging, because they can't drop their heads. I feel they were harshly done by, but they have to get in now and help their teammates. They can still contribute in a big way.
7 points to 4 at half-time. Let's go pitch side. Maxie Swain talking to Thomas Keane.
Maxie Kern, what's taking the first 35?
Yeah, look, it's been very, very tense and very tactical, as everybody knew. It's very warm out there. It's very taxing on the players. But look, we're fortunate enough with a 3-point lead. You're taking that at the start of the game anyway.
Tactically, you've got it right out there.
Listen, that's open to opinion. It just happens to be that we've got the scores. They had a couple of good chances. They kicked a few wides, we had a few wides as well. So look, the game's very much in the melting pot. It's only halfway, and we're under no illusions with a massive task ahead of us in the second half.
What was your take on the black cards, and how do you think it's going to affect the game?
Look, Tyrone have a very strong squad, as everyone knows, so I don't think it'll affect them that badly. They were able to bring in quality players there to replace them, so I don't think it'll make any wild difference. I didn't see the answer myself, so I can't really say if they were legitimate or not.
Thank you very much, Mark. Maxie Kern. We're also going to get an opportunity to speak with a Tyrone legend here. Peter Canavan joins us. Peter, let's first of all talk about those two black cards. Justified?
I would need to see it again, Thomas. It was very hard to establish what exactly happened. I know the Tyrone supporters are feeling very grieved about it, but look, it's happened before half-time. The management can address it, and we have a very strong bench there, and I would like to think that Rory Brennan's going to have a big second half, and likewise Mark Bradley's coming on, and I would expect a big impact on him as well.
I think it's 9 wides in the first half. Peter, that says it all.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I think there's a slight wind advantage there to Donegal in the first half, and some of the Tyrone shooting was a bit erratic from far out. But I think we've got to close down on Ryan McHugh. He's had a massive first half for Donegal, a very intelligent player. Whilst he's man marking Petey Hart when thrown of the ball, nobody is marking Ryan McHugh when Donegal have possession. So I'd like to think we're going to have to close him down, because he's that intelligent. He sets up a lot. He was fouled for a couple of scores, and he also kicked 3 himself. So the likes of McNeilis and Ryan McHugh, I would like to see man marked.
The likes of Sean Kavanagh, Michael Murphy, Paddy McBrairty, Ronan O'Neill, players who we expected to have a big impact on the scoreboard, maybe haven't. Have Donegal maybe managed to get the right Tyrone players on the ball and taking shots, as opposed to the guys who are maybe going to hit 8 out of 10?
That's a fair point. Donegal have man-marked a few of Tyrone's players when they're in possession, but it's very difficult for any forward out there, Thomas. Every time Tyrone get the ball, there's 14 Donegal men defend, and likewise Tyrone are setting up the exact same when Donegal have possession, so it's very difficult to break it down, and you're relying on the running game, and at the minute Donegal's interchange and interaction between one another is slightly ahead of Tyrone's. But if Tyrone are going to win this, I believe they've got the legs on this Donegal team. They've got to increase the pace, but get an injection of pace and play at a higher tempo, and I think that'll suit Tyrone's style of football. Plus we have a very good bench to bring on in the closing minutes, so they're definitely not out of the game.
We know what your heart says. What does your head say?
Well, I felt Tyrone at the start of the game, but I think we need the game played at a higher tempo. If they can do that, I think with Matty Donnelly, who is one of the leaders on the team, being taken off, that's another reason for Tyrone to win this game. So I still believe it's within this group of players to turn this around and to finish the game very strongly.
Peter Callum, thanks very much for joining us. Plenty to talk about in the studio, Mark, and particularly those black cards, because particularly the first one took Tyrone completely by surprise. They weren't ready to make a substitution straight away. They felt it was very, very harsh. Over to you guys to discuss.
Thank you, Thomas. I was thinking Peter Callum's head was saying, get me some sun cream there. Philip Jordan, the point that Peter was making was that Tyrone are playing the game at Donegal's pace. He's suggesting Rory Brennan, the man, to pick up Ryan McHugh. Do you think that change is going to happen, and does it need to happen?
Yeah, I think it definitely does. It was one I thought beforehand Tyrone would have man-marked Ryan McHugh. I think people talk about who's going to mark Michael Murphy, but I think Ryan McHugh's influence in the team and the way Donegal play now is key, and it's the one thing's disappointment Tyrone that they haven't decided to man-mark him. I think, again, the game's been played at Donegal's pace. Tyrone, people talked about the fresher legs, more pace in the team, but they've brought the game down to a slower pace and it suited Donegal, and once Tyrone have turned them over, then they've been far too slow to break into attack, and Donegal have just been eating them up whenever they've got to their half of the pitch.
Right, we better get to the black cards. You want to come in, Martin? Just before we get to the black cards, the game intelligence for Ryan McHugh, it obviously has not fallen far from the tree.
You expect him to do that anyway in the game, but I mean, I suppose he's picking up Peter Hart when Peter Hart goes forward, and then Tyrone have a system of play that they're doing in the back, and we have a good view of it up here where they're dropping Justin McMahon and Colin Kavanagh right onto the D. And what Donegal is straight breeze out there. They're breaking the first line and they're kicking their points from long distance, and that's what they're doing. Tyrone need, from their point of view, to push up on Donegal when they attack and put pressure on and try to turn them over. From Donegal's point of view, they'd be happy enough, but you know, the whole game, the black cards and that has disrupted the game, and maybe it will maybe affect Donegal, maybe more than affect Tyrone.
Let's pour over the black cards. I'll invite comment from all three of you. Oisín, you first. Matty Donnelly. Martin Clark made the point on commentary. He felt he was very unlucky here. Talk us through it.
Well, I felt, at the time that it was he definitely checked him, and it probably looked worse in real time. But if you look at it there, Mark, it looks as if he's actually pulling out of it now. The referee at the time has a view of it, but he lets play go on. So the only thing we can presume here sitting in studio, Mark, is that he's been told by a linesman, by an umpire. Obviously, Owen McHugh going off with blood on his face hasn't helped Matty Donnelly's situation. But Mark, before we go any further, the black card is something which we instigated. We took the black card into the game, and we've paid the penalty since that. And instances like this is week in, week out.
When you say we, do you mean the media pressure?
No, I mean we as in the GAA, because that's who we're all the GAA. We're all part of the process of bringing in cards, I guess. How this got past Congress, I never know, because it's created more problems than it's actually sorted out.
But it costs.
And even towards the end of a game, you watch somebody pulling a player down to the ground. It takes more time to get the player off, get a substitution made, for a referee to deal with it, and that was the problem that we were trying to sort out in the first place. But it just hasn't sorted out those
We're seeing
problems.
instance, Mark, where we're seeing players that have trained all year. This is a huge, huge game for not. Like, Tyrone haven't been Ulster final in 6 years, and it's regardless of what county's involved. There's 2 players there that probably harshly enough for very minor incidents are sitting on a sideline and now watching the next 35 minutes praying that their team wins a game.
If we have the correct angle of the second one, it looks even worse.
You think Cathal McShane's unlucky too? Let's
Yeah,
take
I
a
think
look at this. When it was a foot trip and it was the umpire who brought it to the referee's attention.
Well,
just here.
There's an angle we have, and we'll eventually see it. But you know,
it looked very much like a hand went in.
Yeah,
there.
it looked like a hand. But if we see it from the proper angle, we'll see that. You know, there's really this is the angle. Yeah. Like, Mark, there's very, very little in that. I mean, if he tickled his ankle, that's about enough. But for us to base that bit of evidence that we have here, and for us to get a young lad like that a black card, he's missing 45 minutes of the game. Don't get me wrong, he wasn't having a particularly brilliant game, and that switch may have happened at half-time anyway.
But you've often sat in the studio and criticised the umpires for not being alert enough. That's an occasion when an umpire brought it to the referee's attention. He either trusts his umpire or he doesn't.
Yeah, well,
to make it more difficult for the umpires, the umpire has one view of it. We've watched 2 or 3, 4 views, and eventually we get the view which says we don't think that was a black card. But the umpire's one view, and he's making a call.
I just think, Mark, if it's in doubt, and I think those two were in doubt. If it's in doubt, then
I think the big
it's a
thing
yellow card.
I think what the black card was taken in for is if it's intentional, the tackle, and neither the two of them were.
Yeah.
There were actually most of them were. Matty Downey looks like he tried to get out Owen McHugh's way, get out of the way, and he just stood there. And a player, what you're going to have is players running into players. Now that didn't happen. Just the momentum took him there. And I think the referee used to use common sense. The second one seemed as if he was pulling his hand away. It wasn't an intentional trip where you just actually put out your hand and tripped the play. So neither of them, in my opinion, were intentional. So they're a very, very hard.
This is the best referee in the business, by the way.
Yeah.
There's no qualms about that. This is the best referee.
Can I have a yes or no from
But he
all
didn't
three
make
of
either
you?
decision.
Yes or no?
He didn't make the call. The linesman. It seems the linesman made the first call, and the umpire made the second.
Yes or no from all three of you? Is the black card helping or hindering the game?
Hindering.
I think it's helping it if it's used common sense, and I really mean that. Where where it's happening, where people coming out.
Did you ask for one more?
Sorry, but I feel it's the body. When a player's body checked with the ball,
it has stopped the amount of body checking across the game.
And that's the one thing it's helped.
There's so many other aspects of where it's failed.
Yeah.
2 against 1.
But effectively, it's hindered us.
Right, look, the tide goes out, the tide goes in again. It's all about breaking the line. The first score in an Ulster final comes from a goalkeeper. That in itself a rare thing, and it comes from this kick out. Martin, talk us through this. Do you want to make the point about breaking the line is where it's at?
Quickly kick out, goes to Cal McShane, who lays it off, get the run. This is Tiernan McCann showing legs to Frank McGlynn and all Donegal players going forward. This is where you get the quick kick out, get the ball up, and gives away a free. Kieran Gillespie, who is marking Cal McShane, gets back then and makes the tackle. And this, to me, is an easy enough kick for a keeper, but it's a big kick to kick. And Niall Morgan came up, and that's a lovely strike of the ball to punish frees, which is important, But the breaking the line, looking at the game today, it's all about breaking the line. Now, I think the second half's going to be different. Both teams will probably push up more in the second half, but definitely a real cat and mouse stuff there in that first half.
Can't ask you about Ryan McHugh, I can ask you two about him. Philip, you must have admired this, and you pointed out that Peter Hart pre-match is not specifically man for man. Ryan McHugh took him on, and some of his points were just things of beauty.
Yeah, they've been absolutely fabulous. Look, Ryan McHugh's been the outstanding player on the pitch. He's nullified one of Tyrone's best attacking threats, and then he's went up the field and kicked 3 points and maybe one or two frees as well that were scored. So that was the key. That's the one thing there that Tyrone have been fit to do. They have been fit to break that line and then kick the points. Tyrone kicked 9 wides in the first half, but after the early stages, Donegal really started to get going. Look, this is a fabulous score. This is long distance. Doesn't matter how many players you have back, but it's the one thing that Tyrone have. They have a line across the 45, and Donegal have been fit to get through that, and they've really nullified 2 sweepers in place. Colin Kavanagh and Justin McMahon really have been non-existent in the game. They've had no impact because Donegal have virtually just taken them out of the game. They've played the ball to about 35 metres and kicked scores, and they've never kicked the ball in. The 2 sweepers are standing, basically doing nothing.
Ryan McHugh's the best player on the field for recognising a little bit of space, driving into it, and having the composure to kick a score. Now, we've seen lots of players getting into that bit of space, but just not having that last bit of it, being able to kick it over the bar. Tyrone have had 9 wides in the first half, but Ryan McHugh essentially has been the difference between those 2 teams.
For all of Ryan McHugh's scores, arguably the more sumptuous of the scores came off the boot of Oran McNeely, and this is how to beat the blanket.
Yeah, and see scores like this, Mark, I watch them all day, and Tyrone, you would argue that Tyrone maybe are defending a little bit deep, but you don't expect a man to kick it over the top, and he has got very little backlift. He's under a little bit of pressure, but like Marty Clark even said it in commentary, watch where this ball ends up, Mark. There's another 10 metres in this. You know, it's just a really he's got a lovely, languid, lazy way of kicking the ball, and when it's effective, it's really effective.
We come back to you in a brief second. Let's go pitchside to Thomas Keane. He's with a few legends of the game. Mourn men. Thomas.
Well, look at the players behind me. The successful Down All-Ireland winning team of 1991, 25 years on. Household names amongst them, the likes of Ross Carr, Mickey Linden, DJ Keane, and of course the manager, the last man on the end of the line. That's Peter McGrath. We're going to be speaking to him in a second. But first, it is my understanding, I've spoken to officials, and it's on my understanding that Cathal McShane was shown a black card, not for the actual incident, but for verbals given to the umpire subsequently. The referee was contacted by the umpire, and then the decision was made. As I say, that's my understanding, having spoken with the officials and within the last couple of minutes. We're going to be speaking to Pete McGrath, the man there, standing on the edge of the team photograph. 25 years on from Down's victory at Croke Park in 1991. Some very famous faces there, as you can see in the middle. Paddy O'Rourke alongside DJ Keane, Brendan McKernan, James McCartan also there, and fantastic occasion for all of these players to be celebrated on Ulster final day at Clones. The photographs are being taken. They're taking a bit longer than they used to, but in a couple of minutes' time we should be able to speak with Peter McGrath. Pete, great to have the squad back together again. I'm sure there's been a few enjoyable stories told over the last couple of hours.
Yeah, well, it's great to see all the lads so fit and well and healthy. Apart from Ambrose, God rest him, who passed away in '99, they're all in good shape, good nick, and I think they could even give either of these teams a bit of a game here today.
Let's move on to the game. What do you think of the first half?
The first half, I thought it was very, very cagey. I think Ryan McHugh particularly coming through, scoring 3 points from play, something Tyrone will have to look at. But both teams...
Surprised he wasn't man-marked?
Well, I'm surprised that Tyrone are normally so well organised, and the fact that he get through for 1, 2 and then 3 points coming on the blind side against a team that's normally so well set up as Tyrone was a bit of a surprise. But I think both teams, I think, are maybe conserving energy to an extent. It's very warm. This game, I think, will go down to the last 10, 15 minutes, and maybe whichever team uses their reserves more judiciously is the team that could maybe win this game.
You're still managing now, but back in 91, back in 94, there was no such thing as a black card. The two that were handed out in the first half, harsh, not harsh? What do you think?
I didn't see them, because we were in...
That's the Arsene Wenger answer now, Pete.
We were in the tunnel at the time, we only heard about them. But I mean, refereeing decisions, black cards, yellow cards, are obviously having major impacts on games. And Matty Donnelly, I hear Matty got a black card, and he's so key to what Tyrone do. So how they cope with his absence in the second half could be something that determines the final outcome of the game.
Peter, thanks very much. Enjoy your time with the Down All-Ireland winning team of 1991.
Thank you, Thomas, and congratulations to Pete McGrath and Down, of course, 91 and 94 All-Ireland winners. Thomas Keane, to be fair, sniffing out on the sideline. We understand, as he understands, that Cathal McShane sent off now for verbal abuse of the umpire. Now, we can't absolutely confirm that, but that's the word Thomas has. How big a call is that?
We don't know what he actually said, but look, I've never seen a player getting black card for verbal abuse, and it's something. Look, it's throughout the game as well. Like, so we could end up with nobody left in the pitch if we're going to start sending off players with black cards for verbal abuse. It's something that's throughout the game, and look, it's even crazier, I think, than what we thought it was for initially.
And the irony, Oisín, that this time last year when they met, that it was a game which probably took sledging to a new level.
Yeah.
It appears that there's none of that festering resentment which is manifested today.
No, the game has just simmered, really, in the first half. We were expecting it to be a lot feistier in the second half. Tyrone have to bring more of an energy to this. They have to be able to get more players forward, get them forward at pace. We don't see them attacking in the same numbers as they were. they're afraid of this Donegal forward line. They're afraid when Murphy goes into the full forward line. They're afraid of McBrearty, and Justin McMahon and Colin Cavan have spent a lot of time defending their own full back line, but they've been nullified completely because Donegal, I think, have kicked one ball into the full forward line. Apart from that, they've managed to be able to kick all their scores from 40, 45 yards, and I think that has nullified Tyrone's game plan. You have to say in the first half that Rory Gallagher and his team have got their tactics 100% right so far. Now things can change big time in 40 minutes football, but so far Donegal big time of the edge.
By the way, just before we hand over to our commentary team, I want to say a very happy birthday to a very special lady. Her name is Breach Butler. She is 100 years of age, and Breach happens to be from Kilcar in the county of Donegal, and I believe that they're all watching down there in the Blue Haven in Kilcar. So happy birthday to you. Breach Butler, are you sticking with your initial predictions? You feel that 7-4 Donegal?
Sticking with it because I feel I have to stick with it. I don't want to jump ship, but I just think that Tyrone have a lot more to offer than what we've seen in the first half, and whether they're able to produce that is the big test for this team, Mark.
Martin, it's not over, I know you think.
No, I'll tell you, I would rather be in the Tyrone dressing room than Donegal dressing room. It's tougher at half time in a dressing room like that there. I think Tyrone, Mickey Hart and replays gets it right. He's had his first half over him. I expect him to get it right second half. And a lot of Donegal players, Mark, are not playing well at all. So listen, a lot of work for Donegal to do. Tyrone are going to come at them. It's going to be an interesting second half how Donegal cope with it, but I still think Tyrone are definitely not out of this match, and they will be a different Tyrone team in the second
Philip,
half.
no changes on either side, surprised?
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised. I think Mickey will give the team 5 or 10 minutes here. I think what Tyrone want to make is make the second half a physical game. Tyrone need to bring more energy to the game and make it a physical battle. See who can the hungrier team win, and that's Tyrone. You would like to think as a Tyrone person that Tyrone be the hungrier team playing Donegal, who have 6 Ulster finals in a row. So I think it's time for this Tyrone team to show what they're worth. And
Rory Brennan has gone straight on to Ray McHugh, so that's something that they're obviously going to clamp down on the half time, or at least try and clamp down.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. Martin Clark and Thomas Diblock, all yours, guys.
Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. The ball has been thrown in and stood away. It's been won in the middle of the field by Michael Murphy, who just plucked it out of the sky and just bulldozes his way through white shirts and sets up another attack. Paddy McBrearty on that left foot. What a start from Donegal. Well, Paddy McBrearty and Michael Murphy, that was a play to perfection.
Oh, that was fantastic. I'd love to see Michael Murphy do more than that. He won the ball. I would love to see him do more of this type of play. Charged forward, so strong, so athletic, and on the bounce, McBrearty just turned as soon as he got the ball and put it magnificently over the bar. He was so nimble on the turn, but those two big names, Murphy and McBrearty, magnificent to watch, Thomas.
Well, Tyrone players lying on the ground. The play has continued, but the referee has spotted it. In fact, David Kolick is blowing his whistle, and we'll see what happens. It looks like, I think it's Tiernan McCann who's lying belly down on the ground. Here's the challenge. Let's have a look at it. Tiernan McCann in possession of the ball. Took a bounce, passes it. Hit with a late challenge from Michael Murphy.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think he was hit as he was dispossessing, though it was a slightly different one to the Matty Donnelly one where he received the black card. Of course, it was a heavy hit, and Tiernan McCann's feeling every bit of it now. Michael Murphy's a powerful man, but you know, I do think it was more an attempt for the ball, and he just carried him with his body.
Let's go pit side to Thomas Keane.
Well, it doesn't look good from a Tyrone perspective. It looks like they're going to have to make a change immediately. Gavin Devlin, the assistant manager, screamed at Jonathan Monroe, so it looks like he's going to be coming on. I'm sure he's had contact with the officials on the pitch, but it looks like it is going to be Monroe coming on early in this second half.
We'll wait to see if that substitution is in fact carried out, but Tiernan McCann is trying to get back on his feet, and the Tyrone doctor just looking at him there, and there's Michael Murphy down on the ground receiving some treatment. So it'll be very interesting to see if the referee will do anything for this. There's Michael Murphy. The tackle is late. That's aided, of course, because it's on super slow-mo. But Tiernan McCann is down. Tiernan McCann, I should say, down, touching his head, which is never a good sign. But he's back on his feet, and from our position, looks as if he's set to continue. So Tyrone have possession. And straight away, the ball played in. Sludden has it. Sludden is fouled. 37 minutes gone. 8 points to 4, double scores.
Yeah, and Donegal deserved their lead. It'll be interesting to see who hits this free kick. It's going to be Peter Hart. I wonder will he go for it? No, he's working it.
Peter Hart plays it back, spots Justin McMahon unmarked and plays the 1-2 and then gives it again. This time to the substitute Rory Brennan, who replaced his Trinity clubmate Matty Donnelly because of that black card, and Rory Brennan has got his first point of the afternoon, and there's now a goal between the sides.
Exactly what Tyrone needed, a bit of pace, someone willing to drive at the heart of the defence, and a lovely clipped finish. Didn't try and kick the ball too hard on his left side, just floated it up in that wind. I think it is definitely favouring Tyrone this half.
Well, he scored a goal with his first touch against Cavan in the semi-final, and with his first touch of the second half, he's popped the ball over the bar. 8 points to 5. Donegal on the attack. The lovely sunny Clonus. It is a spectacle to behold. Confirmation of the changes and the teams in the beginning of the second half, aided of course by the black cards introduced during the first. Or McNeilish comes up against a Tyrone McCann cul-de-sac. Michael Murphy gets a little bit of revenge. Paddy McGrath. No player in the island of Ireland has started more championship games than Paddy McGrath over the past 6 years. The definition of consistency. Frank McGlynn gets it back to McGrath. And now it's Owen McHugh. And you'd almost think that the goals are at each side of the covered stands here at Clonus, such as the lateral play in both halves. Here comes Owen McHugh, turns on the acceleration down that right-hand side, takes on McCalliskey. Forced to go backwards. And eventually the free is given. Donegal, you get the sense, are almost teasing Tyrone to come out of their positions.
Yeah, they're happy to have the game played at this pace. Even when they won the free kick, they were happy to let the ball sit there, frustrate Tyrone and build again. They haven't been losing the ball in the tackle, as I say it. They've done that, so this is Tyrone a chance of slingshot.
When the quick free was taken by Michael Murphy, it did find the hands of one of his colleagues, but the ball's been given away, and here come Tyrone at pace. Their backs are against the wall. They need to come out fighting. They need something maybe from this man. Peter Hart, under pressure, does well to get rid of the football. McNabb plays it out to Sean Kavanagh. Kavanagh tries to go through two green and gold jerseys. Good play from the Moy Club man, but he's bottled up. Comes to an air goal. Kieran Mann. Peter Hart is off and running. Well, a great score from their leader during this championship. And all of a sudden, I just mentioned 3 minutes ago was double scores. Now it's 2 points between the teams.
Yeah, exactly. Sean Kavanagh, another leader, decided this run at these boys, this brute strength through, and Peter Hart was hanging around. He stayed involved in the play, and a great angle finish. But that all came from Donegal for one of the first times in the game, losing the ball in their own attack when they were moving forward, and that's how Tyrone can punish you.
Well, it's going to be a free for Donegal. One of their players upended. And it's Conor McCalliskey that's going to go into the referee's notebook. We wait to see what colour this card will be. David Coleridge, another decision to make. What colour is it going to be? It is yellow. So Conor McCalliskey is booked. Donegal hit the short free, and they have possession yet again. Carl Lacey just pops it to Owen McHugh, the other side of the pitch. So comfortable in possession, all of these Donegal footballers. Martin O'Reilly, head down, thought about going for it, pops it back. Ryan McHugh, the former young player of the year. What a first half he's had. McNeilish gives it to Neil McGee, the full-back, attacking at pace, taking on his man, rushes past Ronan O'Neill. Frank McGlynn under pressure. Sean Kavanagh comes out of position, and once he does that, the gap is left. McHugh is partially blocked down. And the break and ball is won by Colin Kavanagh. Here comes Tyrone on the counter-attack. Sean Kavanagh has it. Bounces it, hand-toes it down his right-hand side. He crosses the 45-metre line. He's looking for help. He's found it in Niall Sludden. who just brings the ball into his chest to try and secure possession because he knows the challenge is coming in. The free is given, and it's been taken quickly by Peter Hart. Played another 1-2 with Justin McMahon. Rory Brennan switches the play. The focal point is now down that left-hand side. Lovely 1-2. Ronan McNamee goes for the shot. And the goalkeeper knew that was going wide. And Mickey Hart has plenty to think about. No need for jackets today. Sunscreen and protective hats and sunglasses, the order of the day.
It was interesting at half-time, Thomas, that Peter Canavan, who obviously knows the Tyrone boys well, mentioned that they may have more run in their legs than Donegal, so that may come into it because it's very hot out there. The game hasn't been as energy-sapping as we may have thought, so to have that extra run in the legs could be key, but Donegal are certainly a very, very fit team also.
Well, I was speaking to Peter Canavan during the week, and he said Tyrone have lost enough games against Donegal. Enough is enough. They trail by 2. Tiernan McCann has the ball in his hands, goes for the shot, and it goes wide. That is the second wide of the second half for Tyrone. They're 11th in total. Martin McElhinney is on the field of play, and he replaces Rory Kavanagh in the middle of the field.
Tyrone will be happy though. They've kind of got the game going. There's a faster flow to the game. Suits Tyrone better. They're turning Donegal over a bit more, and they're sprinting forward. They're having those attempts on goal, but the wides really, really are hurting them.
So it's going to be another goal kick. It's going to be taken by Mark Anthony McGinley. Whacks it with the right foot. It's such distance in that. It was fisted on by McElhinney, but it's into the hands of a Tyrone player, and the attack again. A little bit more urgency during this second half, but Tyrone have had to do that. Here comes Peter Hart, who's already scored 1 point, does well to take his bounce and secure possession. Sean Kavanagh through on goal, fists it over the bar, and now there's just a minimum between the sides. And all of a sudden, Tyrone have found their groove.
They have, and that's trademark Kavanagh bursting off the shoulder. Fair play to Peter Hart. He had a quiet first half. He's been brilliant at the start of the second, and Big Shan, a goal was on, but I think it's a good option. We saw him fist points throughout his career for Tyrone, some very important ones, and he's so reliable with that fist, and it was definitely the right decision.
It was a brilliantly timed run from Kavanagh, but all credit to Peter Hart. He's had a superb start to the second half. He could have been dispossessed on 2 separate occasions during that play. It's 4 different players tackling him on different occasions during that one single isolated piece of play. He held on to the ball, he provided the assist, and there's just 1 point between the sides. Donegal on the attack. Gillespie ships the challenge, secures possession, doesn't give it away. Ryan McHugh. Or McNeillis. Suggesting for some of his players to come up, give him that little bit of support. Here's Carl Lacey. McNeillis has just spotted a gap. Tries to play the ball inside. Well, here's the battle. Anthony Thompson and Colm Kavanagh, and Colm Kavanagh just, well, squats him out of his way. Brilliant defending from Kavanagh.
Could be a significant piece of play. Anthony Thompson sort of walked into the ball, whereas Colm Kavanagh came like a string and he wanted it more, and it's a big significant moment perhaps.
And a free has been given for Tyrone. Peter Hart was looking at taking quickly, but by the stage Tyrone had regrouped. He was marked. Here's Tiernan McCann. Moves inside and transfers the ball, gives the Sludden. The angle is acute, but it's high dropping. Goalkeeper comes out and fists it brilliantly to Martin O'Reilly. He starts another Donegal attack. Here's Neil McGee. There are the teachers of Gaelic football in Tyrone, casting their next plan. Donegal on the attack. Yet again, Owen McHugh gives it to McElhinney, takes the return pass. Here's Ryan McHugh, a cousin of Owen's from the Kilcar club in the southern regions of Donegal. McElhinney under pressure from Ronan O'Neill, who's back defending. And Ryan McHugh just buries the head and goes for it. It was almost like a back row rugby player, the way in which he took the ball into contact. Martin O'Reilly spots the gap, gives it outside. That's a lovely dummy from Carl Lacey. Settle himself, spots a man inside. There's a chance of a goal for Donegal. It's opened up, but Tyrone scramble back. Now this could be a big turnover. And Justin McMahon is letting every Donegal player in the vicinity of him know about it. We follow the play. Sean Kavanagh loses possession and the tackle comes in. It's late, it's high. And there's a kick out from Anthony Thompson. Well, Sean Kavanagh definitely took a boot to the body. The referee, well, doesn't look as if he's going to make any judgment on it. But Sean Kavanagh back on his feet, full stop. 8 points to 7. And it was a cagey, Pete McGrath said in half-time, first half. It was relatively quiet. It's hard to believe there was 34,000 spectators crammed into Clones. Such was the quiet nature of the first half. It's a little bit different now. The minimum between the sides. This game has sparkled into life. McElhinney takes on 1, 2, 3 Tyrone players. Referee says no foul committed. Ball's been given away. Tyrone, the masters of the turnover. But their game plan has completely changed. That is a poor pass, however, by Peter Hart.
Yeah, just watching it, it's difficult to see how Donegal are going to break the line in this half. They don't appear they're going to be able to score too many points.
So Donegal come forward in attack and pass it back to Ryan McHugh. Carl Lacey. Now Martin McElhinney. Tyrone of all the players bar one inside their own half. Almost intercepted the ball. Well, Frank McGinn, the second time of asking, is on the attack. Ryan McHugh again. Kicks it, the pass is this brilliantly won by Martin McElhinney. Fantastic courage to win that ball. McGuinness, Owen McHugh, he's plenty of time, he's plenty of space, but the execution was poor, it goes wide. Rory Kavanagh and his band of brothers, plenty to think about. Here's the incident in Sean Kavanagh. The tackle was late, it was a foul, and here's the kick out. Kicks him out of his way, right in front of the referee, but the referee at the time of the kick was looking the other direction. Here's the penalty incident. Tiernan McCann, just a shoulder against Gillespie. Referee says nothing given.
Yeah, if Gillespie had been a bit more urgent on the ball, it could have potentially been given a penalty. Would have probably been harsh, but if he had had a bit more urgency, taking that ball, slipped it. It was a great ball inside by Carl Lacey, and a goal in this game would be very telling. But you know, Tyrone will be delighted with how they've come out. Donegal scored that point after 10 seconds from the throw-in where Murphy fed McBurty, and they haven't scored in 15 minutes since.
Good news for Tyrone supporters. Peter Hart is back on his feet. The blue skies of Clones. It's a beautiful day in County Monaghan. A sea of green and gold and red and white. And at the forefront of your picture is Niall Morgan, who's about to restart play. With 51 minutes gone, just a minimum between the sides. Well, the referee has gone to Anthony Thompson, just off camera, and he's given him a yellow card. So whether he spotted it or he's been told by one of his match officials, but off camera, he went to Anthony Thompson and he gave him a yellow card. Free for Tyrone. And now it's the Donegal supporters who seem angry. Yellow card for Anthony Thompson. Presumably that was for the kick, and if it was a yellow card for the kick, then by the letter of the law it should have been red.
Yeah, Rory Brennan won that free kick very well, and Thompson just on a yellow. Could have been another yellow there. So very fortunate, because it could have been a red for the kick out if it was interpreted that way, but big chance for Tyrone to draw level.
Mark McHugh's introduction to the championship final seems imminent. He said during the week in one of the newspapers I was reading, there's nothing more special than winning an Ulster title, although maybe it will be extra special if we beat Tyrone. Just a point between the sides. Neil McGee and Ronan O'Neill. Niall Morgan. It's a big kick. It's a long way out. The chance to bring the sides level, and he's nailed it. A superb kick from the Tyrone goalkeeper. And he can run back to his goals with a little spark, an extra inch in his step. That was a brilliant free.
Fantastic free, just walked up the 2 steps and banged it over, never looked like missing. Sometimes when the frees are further out, you're able to strike right through the ball, you can get a firmer connection, and you're not expected to score them sometimes. You just open up, and that was a fantastic kick. That's 2 lovely frees he's contributed.
2 lovely frees. The last 4 scores of this game have all gone the way of Tyrone. Rowan O'Neill has been taken off, and replacing him is Jonathan Munro. Ball into the middle of the field, fisted down by Michael Murphy, and the break-on ball is won by Donegal. Owen McHugh gets it, drops it, tries to pick it up again. He's under pressure, does very well. Michael Murphy thought about going forward, decides to go backwards. Anthony Thompson is the man that made way for Mark McHugh's introduction. Picked up a yellow card, taken off. McHugh slips, does well to get rid of the ball before the imminent Tyrone attack. Frank McGlynn has seen plenty of possession in the 55 minutes we played of this game, but that's great pressure from Colm Kavanagh and forces McGlynn to go backwards. He doesn't give away possession, however. There is Jonathan Munro. He was introduced just a few moments ago. Gillespie gives it to Martin O'Reilly. McNeely's. And there's boos from the supporters. That's a rash challenge from Sean Kavanagh. And that seems more out of frustration than anything else.
Yeah, it might not be a bad free kick to give away either. It forces Donegal to kick the ball and Tyrone to try and regroup again and force a turnover, because they're really sniffing out a turnover here. They're poised to spring forward if they get that ball back.
8 points apiece. 55 minutes gone. The 2016 Ulster Championship final live on the BBC. Carl Lacey, the springboard of another attack. Eamon McGee finds Oran McNeely, who's just spotted that slightest of gaps. Again, looking for support. Donegal haven't scored in 20 minutes. Carl Lacey finds that little bit of acceleration, gives it inside. Ryan McHugh. He needs help. He's found it in the form of his brother. McElhinney finds Owen McHugh. Paddy McBurdy takes it into contact, gets the bounce. Knew he's going to be bottled up and gets rid of the ball very well. Oran McNeely just whacks it. Sheer perfection. Absolutely fantastic. His second point today, and both of them have been peaches.
Absolutely beautiful. This was a different style. He went with the outside of the boot. He had to into the slight breeze. Just fantastic. Again, it clears the crossbar. He's kicked that 60 metres right into the crowd, and an inspirational score, a perfect kick, and one that Donegal fans absolutely loved.
Well, his kicking ability today has been the Donegal version of Maurice Fitzgerald. It's been absolutely superb, but Tyrone are on the attack. They trail by a single point. Tiernan McCann spots the run, beautifully timed pass by McCann. Chance of a goal, and it's gone wide. Well, what an opportunity, and rarely is that rear guard of Donegal breached like that, but that was a brilliant piece of play. Absolutely superb from Cal McCarn. The pass was perfect. He managed to go right through and goal, but his shot was off target. What an opportunity.
Yeah, it's a massive opportunity, and he knows that himself. He could have potentially tried to work it in a bit closer to the goal to draw the goalkeeper, but his effort in the end was really disappointing. He blazed it miles wide, but he'd be very, very disappointed. And Mickey Hart also.
McCarn hit a wonderful point in the opening half. Absolutely superb. He's a talented Gaelic footballer, but could have done much better on that occasion. He'll be frustrated at himself. 9 points to 8.
Perfect piece of fielding by Colm Kavanagh there. He wanted that ball. He rose above none other than Michael Murphy. Won it for his team. Inspirational.
Peter Hart. Here's Conor McCalliskey. Plays the 1-2. Sean Kavanagh dispossessed. Brilliant near-hand tackle from Eamon McGee. Had to be timed to perfection, and it was. And again, the crowd's gone quiet. 12 minutes remaining. There's a single point between the sides. In comes the shot from distance. A long way out, and it goes wide. A 13th wide for Tyrone.
Yeah.
For the number 13, Conor McCalliskey.
Trying to force himself into the game to put one over from there, but it's such a difficult kick.
Superb catch from Colin Kavanagh. Absolutely superb piece of fielding, and under pressure he was hit with a robust challenge as he's gone to ground, but still maintained the ball. You could play him just about anywhere.
He can, and I watched him take a few strides. I knew the ball was going to be his, even though he had quality opposition going up for it.
Paddy McGrath has options both left and right. Martin McElhinney switches the focus of the play down his right-hand side. Owen McHugh now taking the game to Tyrone. Carl Lacey. Measured build-up. No panic, no stress.
Stand up, stand up, stand up. Johnny, let's press.
The enthusiastic Tyrone supporters telling their men to stand up. Don't dive in. Rory Kavanagh. Such an animated character on the sideline. Almost as if he feels every challenge and visualises every play in his head. Donegal just trying to create that little bit of a gap. Tease one of the Tyrone defenders out of their place and move into it. But Tyrone are disciplined. They're making it difficult. Donegal don't seem too perturbed at the minute. They lead by a single score. We're into the final 10 minutes of the 2016 championship. That is, of course, unless there's a replay, Martin Clark.
And who would rule that out at the minute on the season we've had already?
Kieran Gillespie gives it to Carl Lacey. Frank McGlynn pops it inside. McGlynn going again. That's a big hit from McGlynn on McGlynn. Referee says no foul, and they come away with it. Donegal had possession in that sequence of play for over 3 minutes. And quick as a flash, Tyrone come away with it. Sean Kavanagh kicks. What a score from Kavanagh. Well, that's a massive turnover, and finer the margins in Gaelic football, but that was a big call from the referee. It was a big hit on Frank McGlynn. The referee said it was a fair one. It'll be interesting to have a look at that again, but you cannot question the finish from Kavanagh. It looked as if he was going to be blocked, had to hurry the shot, and the angle was so acute, but that was perfection. Was this a free?
Timed it pretty well, but you know, that's for the referee to say. But the Sean Kavanagh, the run, he was sprinting at full pace, 33 years of age, to angle that ball up and over the bar. The scoreline where it is, the clock with 8 minutes left, it was just outstanding. It was a pleasure to watch, and he ran straight back out to position. He knows Tyrone are now a firm chance of going on to win this game, but that was simply magnificent.
Well, that was a brilliant shoulder challenge. It was timed to absolute perfection, and making a shoulder challenge when players are moving at such speed is fraught with danger. It had to be perfect, and it was. And the referee got that one spot on. The result, the sides are level, 9 points apiece. 8 minutes remaining. Mark McHugh. Oren McNeely's trying to take the game to Tyrone, takes a bounce. Thought about giving it inside. Orchestrating things from the 45. And again, you can hear the boos from some of the supporters. Donegal won't be bothered in any way. Possession absolutely key. Paddy McGrath, the cornerback, has the confidence to take on his man. Referee says no foul. He's gobbled up by Niall Studden, and Studden's won himself a free. Looks very much like Christy Toy is going to be introduced very shortly. Sean Kavanagh. It looks as if he was asking the referee how long's left. Christy Toy coming on. Frank McGlynn taken off. Big call from Murray Gallagher in the sideline.
It is. He's not afraid to make those big calls. I just feel, Thomas, that the momentum's with Tyrone, and if one team's going to go on to win it, I feel that it's going to be Tyrone. The men standing up all over the field. You know, they've outscored Donegal in this half already, and I think if they want it enough, they can go on and win it. I just think the scores have dried up for Donegal.
Well, whether that's a man that's extremely disappointed of being taken off, or whether he's just, again, slowing the game right down, Frank McGlynn is very much taking his time, taking off. Spitting the hands, Rory Gallagher. We're into the championship minutes of Championship 2016. The sides are level. Tyrone are on the attack, however. In comes the shot from distance. It's a Gary Owen, and it's going to peter out to the right and wide. You couldn't call it.
Yeah, well...
Could you?
I think Tyrone will, at the minute, the way the game's going, I think Tyrone will get more chances than Donegal to win it. Whether or not that'll translate to, to the win, we've seen them snatch at shots, and we've seen Donegal blast them over from outside the zone. But on the way the game's going, I just feel Tyrone have the momentum.
Donegal, however, have the ball. Kieran Gillespie. Mark McHugh finds his cousin Owen. Moves into enemy territory. Carl Lacey. A lovely turn from McHugh. Well, he's like a ballerina. Brilliant stuff. And before he was gobbled up, got rid of the ball. Eamon McGee is gobbled up, and Tyrone have the turnover. Tiernan McCann, is he fouled? The referee says no. Play continues. Peter Hart has it. There's a man outside him. If he can find him, he can. It's a brilliant pass. Mark Bradley down that left-hand side, brings it in field and gets it back to Hart again. Hart driving forward, going through 1-2 players. Referee takes a close look at it, says no foul, and brilliantly stripped of the ball. Donegal have it. Who else but Ryan McHugh?
Fantastic effort from both sets of defences to bottle up, to be disciplined, not give away the frees, and win possession back for their side.
You get the sense this game is going to come down to one play, one mistake. 4 minutes of normal time remaining. The sides locked on 9 points each. Donegal have been given a free.
Michael Murphy, can he be the man?
Anthony Thompson was taken off, remember. It looks as if he's going to be coming back on again. In the meantime, there's another substitution who's been introduced. Owen Van Gallagher comes on. And Kieran Gillespie is off. A signal of intent from the Donegal bench. And Anthony Thompson has also made his way on the field of play. And Owen McHugh is the man that's going to make way. So there's Kieran Gillespie. He was the first of that double substitution to be taken off. And Owen McHugh is also going to make his way off the field of play. Is it the final throw of the dice to Murray Gallagher? A double substitution so late in the game, when the sides are locked on 9 points apiece. They don't have to chase it.
What a huge kick for Murphy.
Such pressure on Michael Murphy. He's hoping for his 4th title as captain. Kicks it over the bar. Could that be the winning score? How long's left, says Rory Gallagher. I have a feeling you're going to see a multitude of Donegal substitutions to try and run down the clock. Well, look at that. He makes it look so easy.
That is the moment. He's had a fairly quiet game, but to sit back and do that, 55 metres out in an Ulster final, just phenomenal.
Tiernan McCann leads the attack. So too does this man. Goes for the scores over the bar. It is. What a point from Tyrone. What a response. You just cannot separate these sides.
And it all came from, again, Niall Morgan after Murphy's point, kicking it out. And Mark Anthony McGinley's done the same, and Donegal are on the attack again.
Darren McCurry, the fist pump, obligatory at this stage. That's his first touch.
Beautiful.
What a point.
Beautiful score from McCurry. He's a class act. I was surprised that he hasn't had more game time this season, but there he is. He's making his mark now.
Just spotted Kieran McGeary. Looks as if he's going to be introduced for a Tyrone substitution. A minute and a half of normal time remaining. Who's going to be the winner of this match? Is it going to be Christy Toy? The shot from distance. The umpires look at one another, and it's a score. What way is this game going to go? It's been a tactical battle. It's ebbed and flowed, but it's been quiet on so many different occasions. But the finish has been sensational from both sides. Donegal have their noses in front by a single point. Well, the sense of nervousness from both sets of supporters. It's easy to see. How must the players be feeling? Justin McMahon takes a toe tap. Recuperates and goes backwards. Tiernan McCann thought momentarily about the long ball in. Instead takes a toe tap and spots the runner. The runner now moving forward at pace. Chance of a score. Tyrone moving through. It's McNabb, tries to give it outside. Chance of a goal, brought down. The referee looks at it. Doesn't blow his whistle. He's strided out of it. And eventually the ball comes out of the hands of the goalkeeper. He's won a free out. Mark Anthony McGinley, a big call from the referee.
He was right in the right position, Thomas. He made a call of no penalty. We'll have to see it again, but I thought potentially Rory Brennan could have fisted it over the bar before he got bottled up. Yeah, I think it was a good call by the referee. It was a brave call, but I think it was the right one.
You have to do more during a penalty in that situation. Well, there's the tackle. And the referee, you feel, got that one right.
I feel he got it right. He's had a fantastic game. He was right in there. He was on the ball. He was straight, and he just held his hands in. He said no penalty, and it was a great defending. Very disciplined from Donegal. They crowded them out. It was a great move by Tyrone.
We're into injury time. Paddy McBurty has been taken off. You feel that's more a case of running the clock down. Colin McFadden has been introduced. What a player to bring on. And Christy Toy is the man with the ball in his hands. Gives it to McFadden, who's out in front of his man. Is he fouled? The referee says no. Tyrone have it. Will they have time for one last play? It looked from this vantage point that was a foul on Colin McFadden. It wasn't given. It's a one-point game. Sludden comes up against that green and gold wall, forced to go backwards. Here's Peter Hart, switches the play down that left-hand side. Ronan McNabb. Sean Kavanagh, that's the man you want to see with ball in hand. 6 minutes of additional time will be played. There's a few more twists and turns yet to come. Kavanagh with the long ball. Does it go over? It does. Wow. Sean Kavanagh, a moment of inspiration from the man that's led Tyrone on so many occasions. A wonderful footballer. 5 All-Stars. Only Peter Canavan has won more. His 224th game for Tyrone. The sides are level. His 3rd point of today.
Spectacular, Thomas. My word. At the time of the game, the pressure he was under, just the perfect execution, dropping it right over the crossbar. What a last 10 minutes we've had, and we still have 4 minutes of injury time left. It's really came to life, and Sean Kavanagh, my word, what a leader.
This supporter can hardly contain herself. There's still another 3 minutes, still another 4 minutes of additional time yet to be played. This could go either way. The sides 11 points each. 72 minutes gone. Remember, the 4th official signal there'll be 6 minutes of additional time to be played. Plenty can yet happen. It looks as if Christy Toy was the man to score the winning point. Sean Kavanagh said no. Donegal, however, have possession. Again, this patient build-up. Not for the first time today. Rory Kavanagh spitting on the hands. The free has been given. And yet again, it's going to provide the platform for Michael Murphy.
It's from an identical possession to the one where he put Donegal 10-9 up about 7 minutes ago. So you'd expect he'll eat the clock up as much as he can to ensure that it might be one of the last chances of the game. You'd expect him, though. He's got his eye in. He scored one from there. He's a great leader.
Another massive kick for Michael Murphy. It's hard to believe that the Donegal captain, having played in 6 Ulster finals, is just 26 years of age. He has been the leader from a young man, a young age. He's captained the under-21 to an All-Ireland club final, and straight away when Jim McGuinness came in, made him captain, and people raised eyebrows because he was such a young man. But a culture change was needed in Donegal at the time, and that is the man that provided it. Michael Murphy, the opportunity, perhaps, to win a championship, an Ulster championship, for a 4th time as captain. Leisurely strolls towards the ball, kicks it right-footed. This time it's gone wide. Well, Rory Kavanagh, they can also, it's almost difficult even looking at Rory Kavanagh. Such is the tension on pitch side. All 34,000 spectators feeling every single play, and all of a sudden this game has changed. The opportunity for Tyrone to lose it by Michael Murphy popping that one over the bar. Tyrone in possession. Now perhaps the chance to win it. The shot comes up from distance. And Tyrone are in front. Peter Hart. And look up at that from a reaction from Ronan O'Neill. Well, we identified Peter Hart from the beginning of this game as the one to watch. He had a quietish first half by his own standards. Look at that. The game in the melting point. Every single kick scrutinised. And that again, sheer perfection. Tyrone have won the ball in the middle of the field. They're attacking at pace yet again. This is the chance to perhaps seal it. Passes it backwards. In comes the shot from distance. Is it on target? The umpires look at one another. There's 2 points between the sides. And from the jaws of defeat, Tyrone have snatched victory. 50 seconds of injury time to be played. Donegal need a goal.
My word, what a score from Peter Hart to put them in the lead initially by 1 point. He just put his head down. He said, I'm going to go for this. And what a phenomenal kick. And then the lovely follow-up point to put them 2 points up. And my word, Donegal they've only got seconds now to turn this around.
The photographers are surrounding Mickey Hart. That can only mean one thing. What? They believe they've got their money shot. It's looking like the Ulster Championship is going to go to Tyrone. Gavin Devlin, no subtitles needed.
What courage from Tyrone to put themselves in this position.
Tyrone have won it. Who else would you expect to win that position than Peter Hart? They're on the attack once again. Mark Bradley takes it into contact. A strong shoulder. He's won a free, and you feel now that is the chance over for Donegal.
We have saw the cream come to the top right at the end of this game, Thomas. We had Michael Murphy at one end, then we had Sean Kavanagh, and the score from Peter Hart. It's one of the best scores I've ever witnessed live. The stage of the game, the importance of it, the distance he was out was incredible. To take it on and put it over, and Tyrone are poised to celebrate hard here.
Paddy McGrath picks up a yellow card. It's not going to make any difference. There's going to be a pitch invasion. 6 years since they've been in the final, 6 years since they've won it. The substitutes are ready to come on. Mickey Hart, well, what can you say? He's built teams more than one occasions, 3 All-Irelands, and people have suggested that maybe he shouldn't have been in charge at the beginning of this year. Well, he's come back and he's led his side, a new team, to the holy grail of Ulster Championship football. They're leading by 2 points. We've played 7 minutes of additional time, and it's one more opportunity for Niall Morgan to put the game to bed. He's going to take the free. It's a long way out, but there's no pressure on his shoulders. Mark Bradley on his feet. Tyrone have only lost 1 game of football since May 2015. In comes the free, it goes to the left, it goes wide, the whistle is gone. Mickey Hart clenches the fists. Tyrone are the champions of Ulster for 2016. A sensational finish.
My God, what a coming of an age of Tyrone. It was a very tactical battle, it was a very tense battle, but the courage they showed, the setbacks they received with the black cards, and to win the game in the 75th minute shows you just how good this side are upstairs mentally. Donegal put in a gallant performance. They're not going to be gone in the All-Ireland series. They'll regroup and try and get there to the All-Ireland quarter-final, but it's Tyrone's day as the supporters pour onto the pitch, Thomas.
It's absolutely sensational scenes. Cal McCarran hugging Mickey Hart, and there's Mickey Hart with his son, the Tyrone physio, and just the smiles can come out now. The finish of the game was just incredible, and Michael Murphy's free, what a moment that was. You felt that if he popped it over the bar, that Donegal were going to clinch the Ulster Championship. He missed, and Tyrone's response was emphatic.
It was, and Michael Murphy had scored a massive one. It was a very difficult kick, but Tyrone just hit you on the counter. Morgan got the ball moving, and that score from Peter Hart, it was worthy of winning any championship anywhere in the world. It was just phenomenal.
Absolutely sensational scenes. It's disappointment for Donegal. Those supporters will go home. They're not out of the championship. They're into the qualifiers next weekend. But is there a finer setting or a finer scene in Gaelic football than that one? The flag of the red hand is the one that is the highest that will be there tonight. Wonderful occasion for Tyrone. They are the champions of Ulster. Have they deserved it?
I believe this season they have. They've been the best team in Ulster. They've had their plans right. They've had to do it the hard way. They've overcome Derry away. They've had to play Cavan twice, and now they've beaten Donegal, who've appeared in the last 6 finals. You know, this Tyrone team are emerging. They've had great experience, whether they were ready for it or not over the past couple of seasons, but now the time's right for them, and they'll enjoy this success. This Ulster title means as much to them as the first one they've ever won, because it's a new side that Mickey Hart has built, and they really deserve this success.
Well, Mickey Hart said, get the flags bunting out again. It's time we get that type of excitement back in Tyrone where they've got it. It's 11 points to 13. Tyrone are champions of Ulster. Let's go pitch side to Thomas Kane.
Peter Hart, sweetest moment ever in Gaelic football? It's up there with the club championship win, yep, definitely sweet now. Definitely.
Tell me about that score.
Look, you practice these things in training and you just hope that you get the chance. Thank God I got it today, and I nailed it, and look, it was a crucial score. But the other boys after got another score, pushed on. Just an unbelievable effort. Must have been 21 players used today. Just so proud of everybody involved, and it's a great day for Tyrone.
What does this mean to Tyrone as a county? What does this mean to the manager, your uncle Mickey Hart?
Look, no secret, we haven't been here in a long time, 2010. For the likes of myself, we've been there all the time. There's been a lot of heartache. Mickey's been there all the while, but he never stopped believing in us any of the years, and thankfully today we got our rewards, but it's an Ulster title, and now we move on to the quarter-final.
What turned around at half-time?
Look, we knew we weren't playing terribly well, or terribly bad. We just weren't taking our chances. We probably couldn't notice it, but there's a bit of a wind there. It was hard to score in the second half. We got to grips and nailed our scores.
You need to enjoy moments like this, but then you'll start looking ahead. How far can this team go, and how much are they capable of?
Next step's quarter-final, that's it. We look for that.
Enjoy. Thanks, Peter. Mickey Hart.
Thank you very much to Thomas Kane. Congratulations to Peter Hart. Congratulations to Tyrone. 6 years is not quite a famine, but in Tyrone terms it might very well be a famine. And the man who's ended that 6-year wait is, of course, the man who's been at the helm for a good few years now. He is Mickey Hart, and he is with Thomas Kane. Thomas.
What a day for Tyrone, Mickey.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what we dream of, you know. The last Ulster title we won, people didn't seem to care about it. They didn't come on the way they did today. There's a hunger been there now for 6 years, and it really came out today at the end of that game. And I think we have to give great credit to our team, because we never really got ahead in that game to the time that mattered most. And it looked like a couple of times that the game was gone from us. But I know the qualities in these men. They are a class act. And, you know, it's just an Ulster title by all means, but it's a lovely Ulster title.
Belief. Your players have belief, particularly towards the end when your leader stepped up. That must make you so happy as a manager.
Well, without a doubt, I told them they had belief before they came in today. And where do you get belief out of? You get belief out of the hard hours you put in the days when nobody sees it, in the early mornings, and the work they put in the gym. That's when they get that class that makes them the potential to become winners. And today they brought that all to bear at a time when it mattered most.
There are people in the GA who say provincial titles don't matter. What would you say to them?
I'd say, look, get a tape of this and watch it for a long, long time, and you'll see how much it matters.
Go and enjoy yourself, Mick, and enjoy the presentation. Thanks for that. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Thomas. Congratulations to Mickey Hart, Philip Jordan, Oisin McConville and Martin McHugh in studio. Philip, briefly, deserving winners?
Well, I think a draw would have probably been a fair result that day. Neither team probably deserved to lose it. Donegal were the dominant force in the first half. Tyrone in the second half really grinded it down when they were 8-4 down, and it was a credit to both teams really. Some of the scores we see in that last 5 or 6 minutes was exceptional under absolutely intense pressure. Michael Murphy's free kick, Christy Toy's score, Sean Kavanagh's score, Peter Hart's, just all exceptional scores. And look, as a Tyrone man, obviously I'm delighted. It's a long time from I've been here, and to see scenes that got out the pitch, it certainly wasn't celebrated that way 6 years ago, and it's a wee bit of a reality check for the county would have had over the last 5 years, so it's great to be back here today as Ulster champions.
Martin, in defeat, can you find the words?
I suppose the first thing, I would congratulate Tyrone, you know, with great second half performance. I mean, consider that point that Donegal got at the start of the second half with them 8 points to 4 up. After that, Tyrone got 9 points and Donegal got 3 for the rest of the game, and that sums up. Maybe there were a stronger breeze down there than we thought, but I mean, that point of Peter Hart's was a fabulous kick on the outside of the boot to get a score, you know, and Sean Cavanagh's 2 points, the leadership that they showed, you have to give them a lot of credit. From Donegal's point of view, maybe a lot of players didn't play well today. They kept battling to the very end, and you know, it was a good performance. That team owes Donegal nothing. Owes us nothing. They've been in 6 Ulster finals in a row. They'll have to regroup now and everything else. But the credit, I mean, the game could have went anyway, and maybe a draw would have been a fair result.
Sean Kavanagh with his little daughter Eva. Thomas Niblock.
Been raised. The championship trophy has been raised. Sean Kavanagh has the Anglo-Celt in those clutches of hands. He's a happy, happy man. There's Colm Kavanagh, his brother, right beside him. And Tyrone are the champions of Ulster. They've won. They've finished the stronger of the two sides, and this one is sweeter than many that have come before. A wonderful win, and congratulations to Tyrone. Congratulations to Sean Kavanagh and Mickey Hart. And let's hear what the Tyrone captain has to say.
And Corn Anglo Selka Glaku, our son Tyrone, and Yashay Blaine Ada. I'm deeply honoured to accept the Anglo Celt Cup on behalf of Tyrone after 5 long years. Firstly, I'd like to mention Donegal. You've dominated this competition for the past 5 years, and that pride and commitment was very evident here today. I'd like to thank the Ulster Council for organising the best and most competitive provincial games in Ireland, and today it typified this. Today's win would not have been possible but for the generosity of Club Tyrone, Tyrone County Board, our main sponsor McAleer and Rush, our other corporate sponsors, and we hope today's success goes some way to rewarding your endeavours. Thank you. On behalf of the players, I'd like to recognise the efforts of our entire management team, led expertly by Mickey, Galvin and Peter. These three men are proud Tyrone men to the core, and your dedication has given us the opportunity to be successful here today. To our friends, families, partners, children, the support, encouragement and sacrifices you make on our behalf is overwhelming, and we have to thank you for that. I'd also like to remember our friends and family who are no longer with us. A month ago I lost a father-in-law, Charles Vernon, a proud Gael. There's a number of other people, Cormac McAnall, Michaela Hart, Paul McGarr. All these people, there are so many people who continue to inspire us and to whom we draw great strength from and are looking down on us here today. Finally, and most importantly, to you, our supporters, we hope you can enjoy today, and we look forward to all seeing you in Croker in 3 weeks' time. Cheer on and boo!
Everyone and everything from a man for all seasons, Sean Kavanagh and his brother Colm Kavanagh. Oisin McConville, Mickey Hart has built a new team.
Did you know, Mark, that provincial championships don't matter anymore? I think, you know, when you see the outpouring of emotion today, We talked at half-time, I suppose Donegal got their tactics right, and this man, I'm sure it's not easy for Martin sitting here and you know, talking about what's just gone on the football field, because Ryan McHugh was absolutely outstanding for 35 minutes, and the one thing they had to do was try and clamp him down in the second half. And when Rory Brennan came on in the second half, he was detailed to do that. They managed to do that and they managed to get forward, but the strange thing is that the game was still there for Donegal, and the boys are right, a draw probably would have been a fair result. The measure of a Gaelic footballer for me, Mark, is what he does when he's under pressure. And I have to say that, in fairness to both teams, you know, they excelled under that pressure. And the more the game went on, the more it was opening up, the more drama there was in it. But some of the scores that were kicked towards the end of that game were exceptional. I mean, we talked about Michael Murphy's free, Christy Toy, Sean Kavanagh's 2 points towards the end of the game were absolutely outstanding. But even Darren McCurry coming off the bench, he had very little space in which to operate. He was under a hell of a lot of pressure and he managed to dissect the posts. And I suppose we talked about before the game that I thought Tyrone might have the edge with what was coming off the bench. They got 3 scores off the bench from Brennan, McCurry and McGeary. Essentially that's what separated the two teams.
Philip, arguably a man under more pressure than anyone today was Mickey Hart. His 253rd game in charge, 3 All-Irelands, but it's been a while since you've been back at the top table, and he too deserves credit.
Absolutely, what Mickey's done, rebuilding a team basically from scratch. There's only Sean and Just McMahon really there from an Ireland winning team, so to start a new team from scratch and bring in so many younger players and still bringing the likes of, I had put a mark just in my programme at half time with the Tyrone leaders maybe that hadn't played in the first half, and there were Matty Donnelly, Peter Hart and Sean Kavanagh. Matty Donnelly obviously was gone with the Black Yard, but the other two, Sean Kavanagh and Peter Hart, really stood out in that second half. They were exceptional, and you need that with the players off the bench that come on and done the job as well. But what Tyrone have to do now is to do what Donegal have done in past years and pushed on, and the Ulster title can't be the limit of their ambitions either. Look, Donegal aren't dead either. What we're showing out there today with Donegal, they still have the hunger there. They matched Tyrone for hunger without a doubt in that setting. It's not the one place where I thought Tyrone would have had an edge, but the game could have went either way, and Donegal will certainly be there. The 2-week break, which will be a benefit for them going into the qualifiers. So look, if Donegal get back to the quarter final, it'll be a dangerous team for anyone.
Sean Kavanagh is pitch side. He has 2 princesses with him. Neither of them is Thomas Key, and Thomas, all yours.
Well, a couple of minutes ago, Sean Kavanagh was holding aloft the Ulster Championship. Now you have the people closest to you in your 2 arms. Introduce us first of all.
Yeah, this is Clara. Clara's 3, and this is Eva Kavanagh. Eva's 5.
You just finished P1. What do you think about your daddy today? Was he good?
What cup did we win?
What did you win?
Don't know.
You don't know? Ulster Championship. We'll go back to you, Sean. What a day for Tyrone, because in the last 10 minutes it looked like Donegal were just going to edge you, and Michael Murphy scored that fantastic free.
Yeah, look here, it felt like deja vu. There's been so many battles we've had with Donegal. They've come out on top of them the last 5 years, and whenever Michael Murphy's on song kicking those points, just like he did in Ballybofey for the last couple of times, it felt like it wasn't going to be our day, but I think it's a sign of the characters we have within the squad. Whenever we needed them, the Peter Harts, the Darren McCurrys stepped up and kicked amazing scores, and you can see the depth that we have in our squad. Kieran McGeary come on, hit a massive score, and you just felt the energy. We knew we didn't do ourselves justice in the first half, but despite losing the likes of Cal McShane and Matty Donnelly, some of our better performers, we've said the last 7-8 months it's a team game, and the guys coming off the bench made the team stronger.
If this hadn't worked out, I mean, you're captain this year, were there times within the last couple of years when you lost to Donegal, when you lost to Monaghan, and you thought, I've had enough, like I'm going to hang up the boots, I've got a load of medals, a load of all-stars, I can't achieve anything more in the game?
Yeah, look, it does. It becomes tough, but I sound like a broken record, but whenever you go to give a high every night and you see the energy that these guys has, these younger guys, the raft of 21s that come in from last year's winning team, they made the team so much stronger. And I started to see some of the characters that were that formed the backbone of the really good Tyrone side through the 2000s, and I think we're starting to see a new team that's been built probably in the past 18 months, and I'm just delighted to be part of that team. That's some team.
Mickey Hart, he's had his critics in the past. Some people felt that he should have stepped down. Is that a big statement he's just made today? With, let's face it, basically his 3rd or 4th Tyrone team that he's brought to the top level.
Look, I think it's been said all before about what Mickey Hart brings. He just brings an insatiable will to win, and he just instills it within us. And no matter what, he makes the Tyrone jersey is a privileged position to be in, and he makes you feel special. And he's just built a team backboned by phenomenal athletes, phenomenal football players, and it's amazing team to be in with the likes of Peter and Gavin, and then Mickey at the head of it all. They really are three great Tyrone men.
I'm going to let you get back to the players in a moment, but you aren't finished yet. Croke Park next up. How far can this team go?
I suppose you always have to shoot for the stars, Thomas, but look, we know we've taken another step along the way, but there's not a lot of football to be played. Probably 5-6 years ago, whenever I was standing here, at this stage we knew it was only really the start of the season, because the real football is played in Croke Park. So look, we'll enjoy tonight, we really will. It's been a long time, 5-6 years since this Anglo-Celts have been back in Tyrone. We're very proud to be taking it back across the border tonight. But look, we'll get our head down, and we look forward to coming to Croke Park, because we feel we can probably play our best football there.
And as I said earlier, you've achieved absolutely everything in the game, but lifting that trophy as captain, that's something you haven't done before.
No, it's very special, and look, I think I've said it before as well, that I'm obviously coming to the end, and I knew coming here today that to lift a trophy as captain is a very special thing. I've watched Peter Canavan do it, I've watched Brian Dooher do it, I've watched Conor McAnally do it, and to add my name to that list, to me is a very special thing and something I'll cherish forever.
Sean, thank you very much. Last word to the girls. What would you like to say, dear Daddy?
Up Tyrone. I think she's a bit tired.
What about yourself? What would you like to say?
Up Tyrone.
Up Tyrone. Sean, thank you very much.
Well, it's that kind of day when Tyrone endure and persevere after a 6-year absence. They're back. Made an outstanding contribution, not least in the second half. Before we shine a light on Sean Cavan specifically, the bonus for today's prize is that avoiding Dublin and Kerry, winning this provincial title, it opens up for Tyrone.
Yeah, that absolutely does, and it's amazing how things open up for you. And I suppose the thing about Tyrone today was they looked like a very nervous team. They looked like a team who hadn't won in some time, hadn't won an Ulster Championship in some time. They sort of found their feet as the game went on. They matured. They have a lot of young lads in that game. They'll be brought on a ton from today's game. You're right. I expect them to be in an All-Ireland final now. I expect themselves in the dubs from the start of the year.
They don't want to hear you say that.
On a collision course, well, no, they definitely want me to hear me saying that. But I think the thing about Tyrone is they have progressed, and Mickey Hart has brought them on, and they've improved as the season has gone on. Every competition they've entered, they've won so far this year.
Question to all three of you. Not since Armagh in 2002 has a Division 2 side won the All-Ireland, won the Sam Maguire. Are Tyrone good enough, Martin?
Well, I think that this is one competition is over. They've won that now. Now you move on to a different competition. They're going to definitely have to push out more than they did the day of the first half, because against the Dubs they'd be out of sight at half time. Dublin would have them put away, balls in the back of the net put away. So they're going to have to change, which Mickey Hart is good at and will do. And I mean, if you look at Donegal from Donegal's point of view, Ryan McHugh got 3 points from wing half back, Oran McNeil has 2 from the middle of the field, Paddy McBurdy got 1 point from play, the starting forwards, Christy Toy a point off the bench. So that's the Dublin forward line are going to all score more than that if you come up against Dublin. But look, there's a lot of football still to be played. They'll definitely have to improve on their performance today, because the first half performance wouldn't be good enough to live with Dublin, Kerry or Mayo in the form they'll be in.
But winning will bring tremendous momentum, Philip.
Well, I think psychologically that's the big thing that Tyrone took out of today. They've got over that mental barrier against Donegal and won it actually in a way I didn't think they would win it. They won it in the last 2-3 minutes when it was really, really tight and there was real pressure there. So they'll take huge confidence in that. I think if Tyrone were to play Dublin and find out whether they're good enough, I'd be delighted if we get that far. So I think we'll be happy if we get that far. But look, it's a great day for them. They'll enjoy tonight. But Mickey Hart's big job now will be, people are going to talk about this path to the All-Ireland final. They have a quarter final first, and that's the next one. If you start looking too far ahead, they nearly got caught by Cavan a few weeks back in Ulster semi-final. So look, Tyrone go in the right direction, but they're not exceptional enough to be able to take a team for granted and expect to win.
We're not talking about the referee today. That's a pretty good indication that you feel that he had a decent game. Penalty calls, there were a couple of them. Can you tidy these up for us, Ashwin? This is the first one.
I think the first one, the only problem is that Kieran Gillespie in this incident didn't hold on to the ball, so it looks like a perfect tackle. It looks as if Tiernan McCann has put his hand around the side and been able to, but like it probably was even outside the area, but it was a 50-50 call, and the 50-50 calls in the second half went to Tyrone, and I suppose David Goldrick maybe felt that this was definitely no penalty. I suppose David Goldrick felt at half time that maybe he had a look at those instances and maybe felt that he got one or two or both of them wrong from the black card point of view, and he tried to even things up, because he certainly edged on the side of caution, and anything that was going 50-50, Tyrone got it. But all in all, he had a decent game, and he let it flow, I suppose, as best he could.
Both of you guys happy, Martin and Philip, that the ref got those calls right?
Yeah, well, I think the black cards, when we look back at the first half, I think one important thing is it's common sense and everything else. Look at it, we've heard different things about variables and everything else. So that's the first time we've heard of a black card being given out for variables in Ulster final and any big match, So from Tyrone's point of view, the quarter final, if I was right, they've won all their matches so far. It's a dangerous game. Dublin got caught years in it. I think Tyrone got caught, but Kerry being caught. Quarterfinals is a very dangerous game. It was a different game, and to get up to that level, and maybe 25-30,000 people in Croke Park or something like that. Just watch that. But I think there's no better man than Mickey Hart to get them right, and he will look at a second competition. And the confidence is the big thing. From Tyrone's point of view, from Donegal's point of view, is partly regroup and get ready now. I mean, it could be either Cork or Mayo. It's going to be a tough match. But look at regroup, get ready for the one part of it over. The championship's not over yet. So the next match for Donegal is going to be very, very big for that bunch of players. Because they have been around a long time. Some of them, they are building a new squad. As Philip said, they showed great energy the other day, which is great to see. And maybe unlucky not to get a draw.
Philip, whatever of the merits otherwise of the black cards, to lose players of the stature of Cathal McShane and Matty Donnelly, and then come back out in the second half and find a way, that must be particularly pleasing. And that Tyrone did find a way. They did it with Donegal leading by double figures. They came then with this surge, just this sequence, this little necklace of points, really brought them back into and real leadership.
Yeah, but Stephen, it was important that Tyrone, once Donegal got 4 up, I think it was important that Tyrone kicked back pretty quick. I think Donegal are known for how well they are to defend the lead, and Sean Captain probably took on men there, which throughout the full first half he didn't keep the ball, but throughout the whole first half Tyrone weren't willing to take men on and challenge them, and Peter Hart, we already spoke about, has picked that point on. Look, he's involved in pretty much everything Tyrone done in the second half, and that's probably one of the characters you want to see in a player when he's had a poor first half, that he's able to turn it around in the second half and make a difference to the team. And between him and Sean were the two real players that really brought an energy to Tyrone, and it was, I think, when you always need your leaders to step up in games, and that's what people look to. And the players coming off the bench done the job, but you need those players, those real leaders. If Sean and Peter Hart weren't doing it today, you wouldn't have seen the same impact, I don't think, from the subs. They need someone who's going to drive them on and pull them with them, and those were the two players that really pulled Tyrone over the line.
Goal chances, Oisin, they were at a premium. The one that came fell the way of Tyrone's cornerback, Cathal McCarran. Your advice would have been
a good lesson for all cornerbacks if you find yourself in this position, like Cathal did on this occasion, because he'd done a hell of a lot of work to get to that position, done well to win the ball, fist the ball over the bar, because cornerbacks, well, certainly the cornerbacks I played with and played on, weren't noted for their scoring ability, and Cathal sort of falls into that category. But he actually had a huge game. He run himself to a standstill today, but that's not his forte in front of goals.
In fairness to Cathal McCarran, I've seen corner forwards do exactly the same. Right, look, I don't know who your standout player was today, but the man who ascended those steps, the man who lifted that trophy and pretty much touched upon everything, he was sensational in the second half. Sean Kavanagh, Sean.
He did. And
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I think, just his ability to constantly come up with those big scores, that's what separated him, I think, from the ordinary down through the years. And today, Mark, for me, I mean, I know I might buy an ice cream on the way home and you get some wee toppings to put on top of it, and this was full of toppings because it was absolutely exceptional. And I don't know if this was the hit just before it, and it looks probably a fair enough hit, but the pressure that was on this kick, Mark, there was a man coming right in on his foot to block him down. I thought, for me, that was the score of the game because of the context of it just at that particular time.
And then again, just this sheer strength and perseverance, the endeavour.
Well, that score there is one. Sean just saying, look, I'm taking this game to scruff and I'm going to get a score. Our team needs a score now, and it's one of those. He's had to change his game. We don't see the big rampaging runs where he's running past men.
And would it be fair to say in those 5 years when Tyrone couldn't win that they missed a player to get them over the line like that, and somebody with that doggedness and that determination?
Great looking at him. Just one point to make about him. And Bernard Brogan's the other player. Very hard to block. Great. That's a technique in itself. Sometimes he sells a wee dummy, but he's very, very hard because he kicks the ball very high up, and it's very, very hard for a player to block him. And he's good at that. Bernard Brogan's the other player that the players will tell you find very, very hard to block in a game.
He is the Tyrone football by Henry Shefflin is the Kilkenny hurling. I remember Henry Shefflin doing that in an All-Ireland final, saying, "I'm going to win this for us." Look, for all of that, the end game came deep into injury time, and again, Tyrone, tremendous mettle under immense pressure. What a perfect point from Peter Hart.
You just can't strike them any better than that. I mean, they're 1-3 1 and 4, but when it comes off your foot so sweet like that, it's a brilliant score. Kieran McGeary, I suppose, as well, who's somebody we haven't heard a huge amount about. He's dabbled in through the league, and he was introduced a couple of times during the championship, but superb score. Had to have the confidence to kick it at that stage as well.
Fine way to book it, and will we be hearing more about him, Philip?
I think certainly will. Look, he's captain on the 21 team. He's someone that I was lucky enough to be involved with. He was only maybe 18 involved on the 21 squad, and he's a plenty of potential. And look, shows through leadership there as well. He's been a leader through underage football, and you've seen that kicking a point under that sort of pressure again.
You know what you'd see, Philip? You'd see now why Mickey Hart doesn't bother playing challenge games. The squad of players he has, the games, in-house games are better than any challenge match. People fighting for places, and that's what makes the difference. Take on players. We heard about it in Kerry. Player and form and training just comes off the bench, you know, and that's what you can see it happening in
A
Tyrone.
couple of things in the second half is the reason why Tyrone got the opportunities in that space that they got. Mark Bradley come on and he just hugged the end line. Rory Brennan come on, and when he was going forward, he hugged the end line. McGeary the same when he come on, and it forced Donegal's defence to go out and mark them, and that opened up little pockets of space. So therefore, you know, the kicks that Tyrone had, okay, they were under pressure, but not the same amount of pressure as they were on in the first half.
They were magnets to the iron filings. Absolutely. It was Donegal's defence. Right, you know what these guys think. Let's hear what they've been thinking on the terraces.
Donegal, there was a chance there with McFadden to take the ball. It would have been an extra point up, but it was just a battle of wills. I think, in fairness to Tyrone, they really, they pushed very hard there at the end.
I thought it terrible, pathetic. It was brutal. Hey, Donegal were rubbish.
Brilliant. Good end to it anyway, that's for sure.
It's good to see them young boys step up. Pity Hart with a point, but still big Sean.
I think Donegal played the ball across the field too much.
Unfortunately, not the result we hoped. A very, very tight match, but here's for Donegal for Sam, 2016.
Well, it was not torn out the first half and all.
Really
last 10 minutes, deadly.
The tactics were completely wrong from Donegal. They tried to knock the stuffing out of Tyrone, but didn't happen. Tyrone about.
Disappointing from a Donegal point of view, but I think Tyrone deserved it, to be honest.
There's a very good game now. I thought Tyrone were deserved winners.
I enjoyed it. I'm a neutral, but it was fantastic. Best team won in the end.
If you saw a Derry flag in behind there and were wondering what was that was because Derry were playing in the minor match today, but they had no joy. Donegal are Ulster minor football champions. Let's just show you a bit of the action from that one. The first of the goals from Donegal, JD Boyle, it was the centre half back, and he popped up with this one, which left them 4 or 5 points to the good at half time. Fine score it was. Another Boyle, no relation, got their second. That was in the second half, leaving them 2-6 to 8 points up. Nathan Boyle it was this time. And Derry did get a late goal. It came from Keelan Devlin just here. But ultimately, it's congratulations to Donegal. They are Ulster minor football champions on the scoreline of 210 to 111. And, well, they might have celebrated. And joint captains, Niall O'Donnell and Jason McGee, it was, who lifted the cup, handed over there by Oliver Galligan. Congrats then to all in Donegal. Martin, at least the day wasn't wasted for Donegal. Good win by the minors.
Yeah, great win by the minors. You know, we don't won many minor Ulster championships, so we'll take it definitely. And that lad Niall O'Donnell, he's a big future ahead of him, and Jason McGee as well. So listen, the future is not looking too bad this evening. We could have got a draw of the senior match. We had a lot of players didn't play well, and the minor players coming through. So things are not as bad as people would have thought at the start of the year from Donegal's point of view. So look at upwards and onwards from here.
And if you were Donegal, it's a fortnight. Oisin, it's important to point that out. It's not the 6-day turnaround now. They've a fortnight, and they will still be formidable.
And it's probably fair to say that this Ulster title was not as important to Donegal as it was. I know it doesn't feel like that right now, but I think, you know, they have a 2-week break, and that's a big thing. And they can, you know, compose themselves, get themselves back, and realise that they had so many players who played below par. And if they can get them playing, you know, I suppose better the next day, but also I think they need to introduce a little bit of new blood and a little bit more pace into that team, because I suppose one of the things about Donegal today was towards the end of the game they seemed to be tiring, and they didn't have the players that, you know, were able to inject that little bit of pace. Tyrone had those players.
I suppose you're saying you're right. Donegal took on older lads, where Tyrone took on younger lads with play on this kind of a day. Yeah. Home advantage will be important if Donegal can get home advantage the next day.
Okay, guys, thanks for the moment. Let's go back pitch side to Thomas Kane. Thomas, where art thou?
Well, we're in the Tyrone dressing room. This is what it looks like when you win the Ulster Championship. Every single one of the players just shows you they're out celebrating on the pitch. They're with their families, they're with their children, they're with their girlfriends, with their wives, with their grannies, with everybody close to them. And that's what it means to Tyrone. But the hard-working backroom staff, we've got Michael McGoldrick here, Mr. Kern over there struggling to get his shirt on. But this is what it's like. And speaking with the Tyrone players and the backroom team, they say this is the sweetest Ulster title they've ever won. They've had a lot of hurt over the past few years. And in the past, people have talked about provincial championships not mattering. I very, very much doubt that Tyrone would agree. Let's have a look and try and coax a couple of them in anyway. We'll just move back here and make our way. These are the lovely dressing rooms here at Clonus. All the players have their own spots. Some of them are superstitious. They sit in the same space every single time in the dressing room. Like Sean Kavanagh, I saw his bag in the corner. But we'll just make our way out here at Clonus. There are the ice baths. There'll be a few of the Tyrone players dipping in there a little bit later on. But I think they'll probably enjoy themselves as well. So let's make our way out as some of the hearts come in. There they are, the background team, the physio team, making their way inside to the dressing room. Colm Kavanagh's up here, surrounded by reporters. That's what it's like underneath most stadiums. Players trying to make their way out. Colm Kavanagh speaking with members of the media. There are a couple of players also trying to get their way through. In a moment, we'll maybe try to have a quick word with Colm Kavanagh as well. Huge moment for him. But we'll hand back to Mark. Would you ever have imagined that nobody would be in the dressing room at this stage after an Ulster final, Mr. Sidebottom?
Well, Thomas, you were there, and sure, that's all that matters. Look, that was interesting to get the insight. We've 60 seconds to sum up the summer. For you, glass half full or half empty? Martin.
Look, we're not know enough about Ulster. For Ulster Championship was brilliant. The rest of the championships didn't really count. So from our Ulster point of view, we're happy with that there. But we won't know the teams. We head down and meet the Kerrys. To me, Dublin are miles ahead of any other team in the country at the minute, and it's very hard. I can't see them beaten. If they lose it, it'll be down to themselves.
Oisín?
I'm the same boat as that. I think Dublin are the team to beat. They're phenomenal at the minute. I think the Ulster Championship, slowly but surely, it simmered for a while and it exploded, I suppose, over the two semi-finals.
It was a slow simmer.
Both of the replays, yeah, it was very poor. We sat here on many's a Sunday and we thought it was very poor, but what a brilliant end to it. And I think the 35,000 people leaving today, will be a lot of disappointed Donegal people, but Tyrone people will be overjoyed at what happened today.
10 seconds to sum this up as a Tyrone man, as the Ulster champions.
It's nice to hear those words, Mark, that's for sure. Look, we're lucky in Ulster with 3 teams that are realistic challengers for maybe getting a semi-final spot. Most of our provinces don't have that, so I think we're still number 1 in the country in terms of our province.
I'm just winking at you, that means wished. That is just about it for the summer. It has been great fun from the entire BBC Sport NI Championship team. Big thanks to Philip, Martin and Oisín. And a much bigger thanks to you, the audience. Tyrone, march on, as do we. We'll see you next summer. Bye-bye, and thank you for your company.
What if I can't make it? What if it's not meant to be? And what if all the plans I made come crashing down on me? What if I believed you when you said that you were mine? What if we're all running out of time? What if I could write the story? And what if all this ends in glory? What if the moon and stars and the world is ours? If only dreams could live. And I never